Ideals like peace, freedom, and justice, they get packed up, but we can all go home. Well, I'm not going home. I'm gonna get on my boat, and I'm going upriver, and I'm going to kick that son of a bitch bison's ass so hard that the next bison wannabe is gonna feel it. Now, who wants to go home? And who wants to go with me?
Welcome to the Rated G for Gamers podcast, episode 208. Before we start the show, we want to thank all of our wonderful fans who have supported us. And if you want to show support for Rated G, you can find us on Patreon at patreon.com/RatedG4Gamers. You can also find us on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Rated G for Gamers. And finally, please rate and review us on iTunes and Spotify. We appreciate all the love. I'm your host, Dave Rotino. And this is my co-host, Dan. We just got back from PAX Robinson.
What's going on, man?
Well, Dan, we got a very special episode, all right? We're going to get right into it. We have a special guest on the show. We have Matthew Adler, freelance writer for IGN, back from PAX with us on the show. Welcome back.
Hey, how are you guys?
We're good. We're good.
We survived PAX.
We did.
We didn't get the PAX plague.
Well,
or the coronavirus that's going around, I hear.
Yeah, I did get a little tickle in my throat come Saturday, but powered through, made it happen.
So you didn't get the full CV virus.
I didn't get the full CV virus.
You just got the V. You didn't
oh,
get the C.
don't even joke about that. I very well could be a carrier. I don't think I am. I don't want to spread that rumor around. Pun intended.
I've been like browsing Twitter, every day, and I'm just waiting for that first story that breaks. It's like first case of coronavirus linked to PAX East, and I'm just like, please, God, no.
Yeah. Well, there was one. If you go to like the CDC, there was one red dot up in Massachusetts. And I'm like, this is how it begins.
I guess there was a health conference that was going on the same time as us in PAX East that they had 3 cases that were confirmed out of there. So I was like, oh shit. If we cross paths with any of those people at any point,
I know. Well, I have to give you credit, Dan, because you were on high alert. Like, you got the emergency and the little airborne things, and you got like the spray.
So when we got to Boston, I was like, all right, we're not taking any chances. All right, I got the airborne chewables. Mm-hmm. Eat that. We would chew them. That helps with the immune system.
Every day in the morning.
Right? Every day in the morning. And I got a big can of disinfectant spray. And Dave said I probably am going to kill him just on the fumes of the disinfectant spray.
It was strong, but you know what? We came back okay. So
yeah,
I give you credit.
You got a little tickle though.
I did, but I powered through and I made it happen.
Okay.
We were doing a lot of fist bumps and a lot of elbow bumps with everybody.
That was the theme of PAX. Elbow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But Matt, this was your first time in Boston too, right? This is your first PAX and your first time in Boston. How'd you like it?
Yeah. Oh man, I loved it. It was a lot of fun. Just meeting everybody and being around like such a passionate community of gamers and developers and you name it. It was awesome. And I really wish I got to see more of Boston. We spent so much time at the actual convention center and around it that I didn't get to get out and have like a lobster roll or clam chowder or anything, so a little bummed about that, but overall I'd say it was a 10 out of 10 experience. I definitely can't wait to go back.
Well, I'll tell you what, don't feel bad, because me and Dan have been going for the last 5-6 years.
Yeah.
I've been going since the PAX East inception, 2010, and I still say the same thing every year.
Damn, we need to
You know,
just take like an
it's-
extra 2 days afterwards, but
Right. Well, we did take the Monday, which is something we typically don't do. We usually fly back Sunday. We came back Monday, which was great. We could kind of relax a little bit, spend Sunday night around, and not have to rush. But yeah, I think like doing an extra day, just seeing the stuff around the city would be like awesome because Boston's got history.
But we did get to have Peruvian sushi.
Well, you guys did
for the first time.
Yeah.
Right.
yeah, it was really good.
That was really good. That was really good. And we got to have a waffle fish. Yeah. I don't know.
That was wild. That thing was that was very it was an experience, let's say that.
If you're ever in Boston, you got to try this place called Ruka. It's like Peruvian, Japanese fusion.
RUKA, right? Yeah.
RUKA, yeah. And they even had sweet plantain sushi, which was kind of. We didn't get a chance to order it this time. Next year, if Ruka is still open, I definitely want to try that because I love my sweet plantains.
Yeah.
Love my sweet plantains. And I definitely want to take Matt to this breakfast place called the Paramount. Awesome place. It's like north of the park in downtown Boston.
Oh, a tiny little sandwich shop.
Yeah.
They make a good breakfast.
Definitely a good breakfast. But we had good breakfast. We
went to the Friendly Toast, which
Friendly
was
Toast was
was a good start to, I think, Friday.
We're going to talk about going back in time. It was like the 80s.
I know.
Right?
Yeah, it was a cool little spot.
Yeah.
But how did you like PAX itself? This is your first PAX event, right? You've never been to PAX Prime or PAX South. Or
Yeah,
PAX
this is my second convention ever. I went to E3 2019. That was my first convention, and then PAX East this time was my second. And I have to say, I enjoyed PAX significantly more than I enjoyed E3. There was just so much more to do there. I mean, the second day after we met up, you guys were sharing that there's all the free play rooms upstairs where you can check out games and play and retro games and all these things I didn't even know existed, and I would not probably have ventured up there to see. Like, I thought everything was pretty much on the show floor, and that's the extent of it, and some panels. But man, there's so much to do there. Like, I could honestly have had another few days just PAX, just to experience more of it all.
Yeah, well, PAX is more. I mean, again, E3. We know what E3 is, right? I mean, that's more so on a business end. Like, PAX is more for the community. PAX is more for the fans. PAX is for you to make friends and play games, old school games, see new games, right? And PAX East in itself is like unique because it's like games that are announced have demos for, they're going to be there, right? Like, it's different than like PAX South or like a PAX Prime. Right, because it's like right before E3, but games that are coming out for Christmas too, as Dave says. We're gonna have demos there, and we get the chance to check them out. Nintendo always has something for us, right?
Oh yeah.
I mean, I think the first PAX I went to together. I mean, we had Star Fox Zero. Right, Star Fox Zero wasn't even out yet. We got a chance to, not
the best. But
in retrospect, yeah,
it had a lot of excitement behind it.
But at the time, it was like an awesome time to play it.
Yeah,
right on the Wii U.
Sure, yeah.
Right.
Last year we had Yoshi's Woolly World, right? The Switch.
Well, no, last year
Yoshi's Crafted World.
Yoshi's Crafted World was released.
Right.
I forgot what we played last year.
Well, there was also Dragon Quest Builders 2.
Yes, that's what that was the big thing that we played. And Mortal Kombat 11. Yeah, we didn't get a chance to play it, but it was on the show floor. Yeah. You can't take any video of it though.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like some developers are fine with it because the game's in a good state. Some of them are like very early on, and they don't want video getting out there without like the developer kind of curating like what people can see. It was interesting. So I'd always ask before going up, hey, do you mind if I take video? Is that okay? And most of the devs were okay, but there were some people that were like, please don't take video. So I was like, oh, okay, that's
and even Sony, right? Like Sony always has like a game there. I mean, last year was Days Gone, right?
Yeah.
Right before it be released, and
we got huge last year.
Yeah, man, they had a big sort of display, right, with zombies.
Yeah, it was a really nice setup.
Zombies as cage.
It was a really nice setup. Yeah, they had actors there, and they were going like 9 to 6 all day, dressed up in the zombie costumes, just kind of playing up to the crowd. Like every time someone would walk by, they would reach the arms out, and I'm like, wow, that is You know, it's really good, and I felt for those guys. I felt for those actors in costume.
Yeah, and this year was supposed to be The Last of Us Part 2.
The Last of Us Part 2 and Final Fantasy 7.
Yeah.
They were going to have both on display, but as we know, Sony took extra precautions and said, "Hey, we're not gonna do it this year." Among other companies, half of Square Enix, the Japanese staff, they said they're not going to be there. So
Capcom didn't come at all.
Capcom didn't come. Right. I think CD Projekt Red was supposed to be there too, and they didn't come. You wouldn't have known, I don't think, necessarily, because everyone else just kind of moved into that space.
They spread it out, definitely.
Yeah, so there was definitely a little more room to walk around. If you felt like it was a little easier to get around when you first got down in there, that's typically not the case. Like, the aisles maybe would have been like half the size, right? Nintendo would have been a little bit more off to the right. Sony would have been right in the middle. And, I think like CD Projekt Red was probably going to be somewhere in the mix too, but, yeah.
No, but I thought this PAX was pretty good. I mean, overall, I thought it was a really good PAX. Didn't have the one game that stood out like last year, and the year before. I mean, the year before we had The Messenger, and last year we had Katana Zero, which you put me on to at the end. All right,
I had to.
Yeah.
And you loved it. I'm like, Dan, you have to play this game, and you're like, I don't know.
So we're gonna do something different this year, right? Because there wasn't one standout game. I think we're each going to have our sort of PAX, our game of PAX at the end of it, right? But I definitely want to start this off by saying we kept the tradition alive. Day one, we went in.
Limited run.
And we went straight to limited run games.
Well, I don't know where you went. Because you went off, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and get online, and I'm like, all right, Dan, where you at? Well, we made it. We made it to limited run, and we were in there early, and there was already a line of people.
And they already sold out of stuff.
Yeah, like I got there, and I'm like, can I get The Messenger? And they're like, well, this is the last copy of the game. I'm like, what? It's Thursday morning at 10 o'clock. How is it the last copy of the game? It's like, well, it is. And I'm like, well, I'll take it.
Because it's limited run, bro.
Yeah.
They only made like 4.
I know. It's very limited run in this case.
Extremely limited run.
I was happy to get the last copy. The Messenger is fantastic.
I love that game. So good.
Yeah. I don't know if you got to play the DLC for it at all, but
I started it and I didn't finish it. It was one of those things that I went back to after it came out. And it had been so long since I played through the main game that I was like, I lost all my muscle memory for, movement and such. So, yeah, I definitely want to get back to it because Messenger was one of my favorite games of 2018. I loved it so much.
Right.
And I mean, I got it. I didn't get it from limited run. Like so many of those limited run style companies put out the Messenger.
Yep.
So I forgot who. I think I got
Special Reserve put it out too.
Yeah, Special Reserve.
I think somebody else maybe on top of that.
Was it Signature?
Signature Games may have done that as well.
I think I got it from Signature because I got like the special edition. Like it didn't just come in like the Switch cart. Like I got like the cardboard and the art book and all that stuff.
Oh yeah.
Which didn't get put out by limited run. They just put out the regular game.
Yeah.
So, but we kept the tradition alive.
Yep.
We went straight for limited run, and I got a lot of Vita games. I picked up Windjammers for Vita, which I didn't even know it came out for. I didn't even know they put it out for the Vita.
It came out for everything. Yeah.
Yeah, I got the King of Fighters '97 Global Match.
Nice.
For the Vita, and Matt, I gotta give you credit. Man. You put me onto this. You made me happy and frustrated at the same time. I gotta say. All right. You told me that Devolver Digital had, was it Gris? Right? That's how you pronounce it? Gris. And I said, I don't believe you because Limited Run just had it in December for the PS4.
I know.
And you're like, no, I'm telling you, I saw it for the Switch. It was being sold. I went to the Devolver Digital booth. They were selling it, and they only were selling the special edition with a huge art book. It was an art book. I didn't know how big it was. And then I bought it. And this thing was huge. It was so big. I literally, the last day on Monday, I had to go to Foot Locker to buy a duffel bag because it would cost me over $100 to overnight this to my house. So I had to buy a duffel bag so I could check the bag in on the airplane. like 3 hours before the flight.
Yeah.
I had to go find a bag.
It was like
big enough.
It was a big, like, you know, like those coffee table books that are like, you know, like Castles of Europe or whatever. Like, it was that sized. It looked really good too. Like it came with like a pair of gloves.
It came with a pair of gloves. It came with like a music sheet.
Right. Yeah.
Right. It was awesome. I mean, the book, you know, early sketchings of the game and stuff like that for each level.
Yeah. It was
awesome.
really nice. Like I contemplated going to get a copy, but then I would have also had to buy a duffel bag from Foot Locker and then check the bag. And I'm like, nah, I'm good.
So that was crazy. So I basically, while we were on the plane, I was thanking Matt and condemning Matt at the same time for showing me this, because I probably would have never found it without him. I probably would have never found it without him. And then, I had to get some retro games. Now, I said I was only going to buy 5 games. And that was the plan.
Always said, one year you said, I'm not going to buy any games this year. And then immediately on the first day you bought a game. And I said, I am not surprised.
No. I said I was only going to buy 5 games. I was limited to 5 games. But when you hit 6, come on. I mean, 6.
Well, now, wait a minute. You bought 5 on the first day from Limited Run. And you're like, I'm good. I'm done.
No, I brought 6. No, I brought 6.
Oh, you bought 6 on the first. So you already ended up blowing past it. I thought you got 5 from the booth. And I'm like,
No. Okay. Oh, no. You're right. I brought 5.
5 from the booth. Yeah.
And then Matt told me about Gris. And I said, yeah, right. And I had to go buy it. I had to go see, and I saw it, and I bought it, and then I had 6. Hey, come on, you can't just have 6. You might as well buy 10 if you get 6. If you get 6, you might as well buy 10.
Yeah, you need a good round number. It's got to be over 0.
Yeah. So I went and bought some Genesis games, and I got the Chester Cheetah. I got the Chester Cheetah sequel, the second game in the Chester Cheetah series.
Right.
For a good price.
You got it for a very good price.
I got it for a really good price. I mean, it was so good I couldn't pass it up. So I bought that. I also, bought one of those, was it Tataku figurines from GameStop. That was a GameStop exclusive for Mega Man. I didn't even know they put it out.
Yeah.
I was like, this is awesome. I got to bring it. That was the first thing that was the first thing I bought when we got to Boston, because we checked out GameStop, and I was like, they have a Mega Man Tataku figurine?
They have a very nice GameStop too. To be fair, like all the ones in the city are usually kind of like small and a little bit ratty. This is nice. They had hardwood floors. They had a ton of space. Like, it was nice.
Yeah. From Limited Run, I also picked up Metal Slug 3 for PS4. Wanted to get it for the Vita. We made it to the Limited Run booth with like 23 minutes, right, from when it opened online.
Yep.
And they were already sold out.
I know.
Of the Vita version.
I know.
Are you kidding me?
I know.
So I had to buy the PS4 version.
Yeah.
Then right next door to the Limited Run, I bought Gunvolt Chronicles Luminous Avengers X for the Switch, which is another Gunvolt game in the Gunvolt series, which is very hard because they don't really walk you through how to play at all.
No, I played a little bit of this at PAX while we were kind of waiting for some other stuff to kick up and whatnot. I'm like, I'll play a few minutes of this. It's very good. Very good game, yeah.
Oh, it's awesome. It's just, I mean, all the Gunvolt games are great.
It's an Inti Creates game, right?
It's just really hard.
Yeah.
It's just really, 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 really hard. And I played it on the airplane coming back, and the second boss was very frustrating because I died like 30 times, and I had no idea how to beat it. And I finally beat it, and everybody on the airplane thought I was crazy because I was just like, yeah!
Yeah, I heard that. I was like, what the hell's going on over there? And I was like, Dan must be deep in Luminous Avenger.
And I was like, I'm sorry, because listen, it was very frustrating. The second boss, was very frustrating to beat. I lost like 30, 40 times. I can't even tell you. I mean, I contemplated just giving up, and I finally beat it with like 2 hits to spare, and I was like, yeah, and everybody was like looking at me like I was crazy. So, that was very. That was an adventurous airplane ride home.
It was.
That's all I got to say about that.
Yeah.
And I would be remiss if I gotta throw this in there. Dave knows how I love my retro magazines.
Oh boy,
brings me back to a simple time. Yeah. When everything went through Nintendo Power.
That's right.
And I was very, very, very. I loved Nintendo Powers, and I always look forward to Nintendo Powers. I wish I still had the Nintendo Powers I had. Nintendo Powers my friend had, because I didn't have a subscription. He did, but he his mom made him throw it all out.
Yeah.
Only if she would have known. And I found a guy who had old Nintendo powers, and I was like, oh, awesome, I want that. And Matt was with me, and the guy told me he wanted like $100 like a piece. And I was like, are you kidding me? I can find this on eBay.
Yeah.
And I did.
Yeah.
I found a bunch of them on eBay. He wanted $100 for, and I was like, I get it for $26.
Yeah,
Are you
no.
kidding me?
Trust me, I am well aware of the prices of the Nintendo Power magazines. I could see it if they were pristine mint and graded to be at a price around that.
Yeah, that seems obscene to have a magazine, just a single one, just like a standard run too, like not a special edition or anything.
Yeah, and like so you were there with Dan, right? And I asked Dan, like, well, were they in like a case or something? Were they sealed? Were they in a jacket? No, they were just out there.
They were just
way too
loose.
much money.
Just people grubby ass hands all over them too.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So I was like, I'm glad you didn't buy it, and you knew right away that it just wasn't.
Well, as a collector,
you
you have a general idea of what things are worth as a collector, right? Like if I see, I mean, come on, if I see Earthbound somewhere in a box and it's like $2, I'm buying that like right away, right? I knew right away, I'm like $100 a piece? Are you kidding me? I know I can get this cheaper on eBay, right? Now, if he would have said like $20, $30, $40, I would have been more inclined to like maybe negotiate because I could buy a bunch of them. But he kind of was like steadfast, like I want I want around 100 a piece.
Right. You could have maybe gotten them for 80, which still would have been way too much. And yeah.
No, I immediately went on auction on eBay and got a bunch of them. Hopefully, I get them soon.
Nice. So how many games in total did you get this weekend? I would do a drum roll if we had drum roll noises. We would do the drum roll noises.
I got 12 games, one figurine, and 2 magazines.
And how many games? Well, I'm not counting the other stuff. But how many games did you say that you were going to buy?
It doesn't matter.
Okay, the answer is 5, folks. All right, for everyone playing at home, the answer is 5.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't.
You know what? I'm just saying. You were the one that made the declaration.
You know what?
And I was like, well, he's gonna blow past.
You know what?
that.
Just like the song "Age Ain't Nothing But a Number."
Uh-huh.
All right. How many games I said I was gonna buy is just nothing but a number. Okay?
You were just very steadfast. I'm only gonna buy 5 games. I'm just stating the fact.
You know what it is? You know what it is? I gave a bunch of. You know what, Matt? This is how I look at it, Matt. I gave a bunch of games a good home.
Yeah. 100%.
You 100% did, Dan. I'm not
It's just
saying
a
anything
number.
about the 12 games that you bought.
It's just a number.
I am talking about the steadfast line that you said. I'm only going to buy 5 games.
Which cost me more money to ship home than anything.
Right. Which is always the case. Yeah.
Yeah, I could have brought more games for that money.
Yeah. So I didn't get as many games as you. I got 3 games, specifically from Limited Run on day one, and then I'm like, I think I'm good. I definitely could have bought more, but there's just so much going on. And we were here at Limited Run, so I cleaned him out of the Messenger. I got the last copy of that. Shantae and the
For the
Pirate's
Switch.
Curse.
For the Switch.
For the Switch.
Because they had it for the PS4 as well.
Yeah, no, I wanted to get the thing on the go, and I've been actually playing that for a bit, which is fantastic. But I got Shantae and the Pirate's Curse for the Switch, which is also a very good game. They still had some copies of that, and then Battle Garriga for the PS4.
Yeah, what is that game, by the way? I meant to ask you that.
I think it was.
You were all about that. As soon as you saw it, you was like, I gotta buy it.
Well, it's made by M2, and if you guys know M2, they do amazing Sega ports. M2 was the one who helped with the Genesis Classic. That's why it's so good. They did the excellent port of Virtua Racing for the Switch. And they've done a bunch of other Sega properties. I think they had a hand in some of the Sega Ages games, right? The kind of re-releases of the Saturn and I think maybe like Dreamcast or Genesis games. They do amazing work. They're a Japanese company, and it's just it's a vertical shooter. But it has some neat mechanics to it. I saw it on My Life in Gaming, which is why I was like super hype about it. I'm like, I have to get this game.
Oh, I missed that episode. Okay.
I tried to get it when Limited Run first had it. It sold out immediately. I saw it at the show. I said, that is the game I need to get. So I still haven't cracked it open yet, but very excited to play.
All right. Well, while we're still on like just the experience of PAX, we got to say, we've been going to PAX together for 5 years.
Yep.
And this is the first time you actually dressed up in cosplay.
I did. I did, because I had a really nice Halloween costume that I put a lot of time into, and I said, hey, you know what? I love Dead Cells. Motion Twin is going to be there, the developer of Dead Cells. How cool would it be if I go to the con one of the days and, like, you know, come by, say hi to the devs, and just kind of walk around the show floor in costume? And I think it was a good idea, right? I know you were kind of sick by the end of the day of taking pictures of me with like fans coming up. You're that guy from Dead Cells. I'm like, yeah. And like, all right, you want a picture? Yeah, come on. So, you know, I was happy people recognized the costume. I was happy to stop and give people pictures and all that. Going by the dev booth, they were like, it was a trip. It was a trip to see those guys. They were very excited.
He was very happy when he saw you.
I know.
He knew exactly who you were.
Yeah. And they ended up giving me some swag too. They're like, here, have some stuff. I'm like, really? It's like, yeah, take what you want. I'm like, oh, that's awesome.
Well, people did argue. People did argue with you as over the best weapon in Dead Cells.
Oh yeah, no, I had a couple people tell me the weapon I chose, because there's like an arsenal of like 30 or 40 weapons in that game that you can get, which is one of the reasons I love it, and they all have different properties and attributes. Hands down, the symmetrical lance, which is the weapon that I put together, is the best weapon.
Oh yeah. Of course.
It looks the coolest. It does a hell of a ton of damage. It's you know, you look badass holding it. So I was like, no, that's gonna be my weapon. I don't want to put a little scimitar, a little blood scimitar in my side. Like, that's cool, but it's no symmetrical lance. So yeah, no, that was definitely kind of fun. Less stressful than I thought it was gonna be.
Okay.
Because, you know, when you're on the show floor and something goes wrong, it's like, oh boy, what do you do? You know, if you're in like big garb and you have to go to the bathroom, what do you do? These are things you need to think about when you do cosplay, right? Because we saw some people like dressed up in power armor, or like, you know, dressed up as like superheroes.
I was wondering how the guy dressed up as Mega Man was going to go to the bathroom.
Right?
That guy looked uncomfortable the whole time, man.
He
I felt
did.
so bad.
He did. He walked very slow.
I know.
So slow. I was like, bro, imagine realizing you're on the wrong side of the convention and you're like, shit, I got to go back the other way.
Oh.
And I just walked all this way and it took me 2 hours.
Yeah,
Got to turn around and go back.
Typically, I know for like the bigger costumes that have like a lot of moving parts, or you're inside like a thing, they usually have handlers, right? Someone will kind of be your like.
But I tried to be your handler.
Yeah. I thought you were. I thought you were a pretty good handler in this case, right?
Right.
You know.
But you had the thing. You had the mask over your face.
Yeah.
So I tried not to walk too fast because I didn't want to lose you.
I had like half visibility in that thing, but I think it worked out pretty well. You know, I take the mask off when I play games. But yeah, no, it was good.
Okay, good. All right, I'm glad. And I'm glad, Matt, I'm glad you enjoyed Boston.
Yeah.
I'm glad, I mean, you know, you're a California guy. It was definitely freezing in Boston, and we're from New York, and it was freezing.
It was cold.
It was definitely
It was that damn
cold.
wind, man. It was the wind chill that was getting me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's Friday and Saturday. Thursday was okay. Friday
Thursday was fine. It was like 50. I was like, what are people complaining about? This is fine.
Mm-hmm.
And then, it was like 30 for the next 4 days. And I was like, okay, this sucks. Yeah.
So Wednesday we got to see the Playcross indie games, right? Thursday was it? No.
Well,
Wednesday
the PAX
night.
pre-gamer, I think.
Yeah,
was
the
that
pre-gamer.
it?
Yeah. Which is always good to get a chance to get a couple of beers and see some games. And we saw a lot of the games that we saw from last year.
Yeah.
There was really not a lot of new games.
Yeah.
I do want to give just our honorable mention to Starcross that we saw. Like that was sort of like my pre-gamer game of the of the show.
Yeah, it was very good. It was very good. Fun little side note. I shared a cab with the guys from that studio.
Really?
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay.
So the head of that studio, I think Whitehorn Studios, I think was their studio.
Yeah.
And it was him, and I think it was one of the other devs or marketing or something, but they were both working the con, and we were just kind of talking, and we exchanged business cards and whatever. But he was like, "Oh yeah, we're from Whitehorn Studios." I'm like, "Oh, what game do you guys do?" And they mentioned Starcross, and I was like, "We played that game, and we really liked it. Like, honestly, we weren't just saying that." And he was kind of like over the moon about it.
Tethered Pong meets like Sailor Moon.
Yeah, it had a big Sentai vibe. You'd play as these you play as these different like colored combatants that had like kind of a Sailor Moon vibe to it, and you have to like bounce a ball between
Star. That's what it's called.
a star
Crossed.
specifically. Yeah, you had to bounce the star between you and your partner, so it was like a co-op game, right?
Yeah. So again, it was tethered, right? Because the star, I don't think can bounce off like go anywhere else other than like between you two.
Yeah.
So
And then you had to kind of like maneuver it around because like some enemies had a shield in the front of them, so you had to like get it to go like around the front of them and then hit them on the backside. It was kind of neat. Like it was definitely unique for what it was, right?
yeah. No, I did. No, I was really digging it. Mm-hmm. And then we went to like another indie game showcase later, like the next day,
Yep.
right? And Matt was with us.
Yep.
Right. And I got the champion this game because I saw it last year at the PAX pre-gamer.
It's come a long way.
And that was like the Feral Frontier.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Feral Frontier
Yep.
game. And you kind of dug it. You kind of dug it, right, Matt? Right, Matt?
Yeah,
Like, you were like all
I
about
thought it was great. Like the art style was good. I talked to the developer for a bit just about like his process of developing and all of the decisions they've made thus far, and it was really interesting to chat about that. But I thought the gameplay was fun. I definitely want to see where that game goes.
Yeah. It's definitely come a long way since 2019.
Yeah.
They added a bunch more stuff to it. It's there's a lot more going on.
It was very bland last year, but
Yeah.
the mechanics are definitely tight, and it had a lot more enemies and a lot more detail.
But it definitely had promise.
And this demo, sort of, which is not even indicative of like in the game. They made this stage just as a demo for PAX.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think, I did a write up on the site over it because I was really digging it.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I really wanted to put it in my top 5.
Yeah. And then speaking of that, I don't know if you guys got to play. We saw it last year. I think we played it a little bit. Depth of Sanity.
No, I didn't see that. Which one is that?
So you're basically a submarine. Which is
Oh,
your
I
character.
remember that. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. I forgot. I didn't know that. I forgot what the name was. I
Yeah.
remember
So
that.
it's like it's a submarine game that kind of has like Metroidvania style component to it, because you get different power ups and weapons as you like explore around this like these like undersea caves. I guess like the big thing that stood out to me was like one of the boss battles, which you were in this giant room and you had to defeat like these little squid monsters, and then like the big boss came out. But like the unique thing about it was like they had little floodlights, like 4 different floodlights around the level, and you had to kick on the floodlights, otherwise you would go dark, and you would only be able to see like little hints of where the enemy was. And they didn't have that last year. They didn't have the boss battle last year. They just kind of had you were just like floating around a little bit. But I thought that was kind of neat. You know, definitely. Again, it's another game that's kind of come a long way since they put it out, and you know, it seemed pretty good. I'm gonna kind of keep tabs on it. I think it was Steam and possibly console, but I think PC first in that case for that game.
Okay.
But yeah.
All right. Well, I want to, before we take a break, I want to get into like our notable mentions, right? Because we're going to get into our top games of PAX. But let's get into our notable mentions. And I definitely want to start off with a game that I know you didn't get a chance to play. I played a little bit of it last year. Like I forgot, I thought I didn't play, but I actually did play. I played a little bit of it in passing, like on our last day. But we got a chance to get our hands on Streets of Rage 4.
Yep.
And I know before PAX, I played Streets of Rage 1, 2, and 3.
Yep.
Just because to get ready for 4. And you know, a lot of differences. I really liked it. I liked
Well, we did the co-op on this game.
Oh, we did the co-op on it.
Yeah.
Different characters. Definitely dug the different characters. I love Cherry. Cherry was the best out of all of them.
Cherry was kind of badass.
Yeah, I thought this game. I thought I was gonna be sort of out on the art style, but playing like in person, playing it, getting a chance to get really good hands on it. I think we played like 3 different levels. I was like, you know what, the art style doesn't bother me anymore. Like this is really good.
That's a glowing review of the art style.
No. Seriously, I thought
it was going to put you off.
I thought it was art style was going to put me off,
Yeah.
right? Because I only played like maybe 2 minutes of it, like in passing last year. That's why I didn't even mention it, you know, in games that we played. But I thought this game was awesome.
Well, it's all like hand drawn too,
Yeah.
which
It
you
looks
can
great.
definitely tell. And like I think like everything about the game, it screams early '90s, right? And the music, the art style, the kind of tone of the game. But I mean, I think we got to play most, if not all, of the characters together.
I think we went through all 3 stages, and I think we both picked different characters so we can get a chance to see how they feel.
Yeah.
And Cherry, I think, is the best. Personally. My
Yeah.
personal opinion on
Cherry's up there. Floyd, I thought, was pretty good too, and they all played like
Floyd was good.
They all played distinctly different. Like you know, we were asking the devs when we were there, like how come I can't dash? And he's like, well, this guy's like a big guy. You know, he's kind of a hulking bruiser. We made it so that he can't do that, but he can do these things instead, right? So he's got like all these grappling moves, and like the lighter characters can kind of zip around the stage and whatnot. I'm like, oh, well, that's interesting. Like that would make me want to play the game again, like with the other characters, because you know, you kind of get a different moveset out of that.
It was full player co-op, right? Which kind of for a beat 'em up can be kind of disastrous because it's gonna be all over the place for 4 players.
Yeah,
right.
2-player online.
2-player online. The specials, I do miss. I'm not gonna lie, I do miss the car with the missile in the first game.
Yep.
Right. That stopped in the second game and in the third game where you just sort of have like a special attack.
Yeah.
Which takes some of your energy away. They kept that in Street Fighter 4 like they did in 2 and 3. Right. But your attack is a little bit bigger, so you can affect more people around you. Or more enemies. I got to be honest. I love the fact that in this game, if you want to like throw someone, you don't drop your weapon. So if you pick up a pipe or a knife, you know, in the previous game, you would drop your weapon and pick them up and throw them or something like that. In this game, you continue that. Once you throw them, you still have the weapon in hand.
Oh, that's so nice. That's super helpful. That was definitely one of the most annoying things when you did have, especially when you drop them. Sometimes they just disappear too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Because
like when it's like exhausted already, and you drop something, and you're like, shit, no.
Yeah, it's only got a limited amount of pickups. Yeah.
I had another hit with that. Yeah.
And it wasn't unique to Streets of Rage. Like Final Fight had that same problem.
Yeah, that's true.
They just didn't. They decided not to program it in for whatever reason. So. It's a nice touch.
Well, the level design is faithful to the previous 2 games.
There was a lot of nods to,
right, where you get obviously it's side scrolling, and all of a sudden you have like the level where you're going down, you're going vertical.
Yep.
Right, which is awesome. Which can be problematic and awesome at the same time, right? It's something different, but it's problematic when you're trying to like characters are coming out of nowhere from top to bottom.
Yeah.
You know.
But I mean, I noticed a lot of the enemies returning from the previous games in the same art style, just with like the new like hand drawn, like, so they're not like pixel anymore, but you know that like, oh yeah, I remember that guy from the first one, or I remember that boss from the second
I wanted
game.
to make
Did they
sure
have those guys with the huge blonde flat tops in there?
Yes, they do. They do.
Hell
They came later in the
I hated
game.
Those guys.
They came later in the game.
Yeah.
But one of the things I wanted to make sure that they kept was the life bar for the enemies.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
The first game they didn't have them. The second game they did have them, but they were always like small until you get to the boss, where it's like huge. Third game, you got the variety of small health bars, big health bars, and huge health bars for like the bosses.
For the boss, yeah.
Yeah, same thing here. So they kept that from Street Fighter 3, which is still a good thing, right? Which is the best, right? You know how many hits you got to do to kill these small enemies.
Yeah, and it's like it's coming out pretty soon.
Yeah, and they have different difficulty levels too.
Yep.
He even said it'll be, he didn't give me an exact, but he did say there would be different difficulty levels, which is always good.
Yeah, and I don't think like beyond the main story mode, which seems pretty hardy. I don't think there's any other like additional modes. There's no head-to-head. There's no endless mode or anything like that. As far as they said.
What was the name of the protagonist in the original Street Fighter series?
Well, it was Axel, Blaze, and somebody else. Yeah, I forgot who the third guy was.
It's old man Axel.
Yeah, that's right.
He has the gray goatee.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
He's seen some things. He's seen
some things.
But he's still in good shape. I got to admit. Like
No, he's in awesome shape.
Yeah. So.
I definitely want to talk about Panzer Paladin. I think that was like, if not my top 5 games of last year.
Sure.
I just want to give it sort of like a notable mention because they were back. Mechanics are definitely tight.
Bigger booth this year.
Bigger booth this year. Yeah. Way bigger booth.
They had a big presence, but
huge presence.
Yeah.
And if you like Blaster Master, you're gonna love this game because this is like Blaster Master with mechs, right? It's a 2D mech platformer running gunner.
And you could hop in and out of the mech.
You hop in and out of the mech just like you can in Blaster Master, right? When you hop in and out of your vehicle. I thought I was all about this game last year, but it was so early, and I was just like, the mechanics didn't feel as tight.
You were saying it needed some work, yeah.
Definitely The mechanics of jumping in and out and attacking definitely tight on this one. I can see this being a limited run game. Me buying it on the Switch later on. Like I'm really all about I'm really all about this game, and they have different weapons too for the mech. That was another thing. Last year you really only had the sword. Now you got the spear, you got the sword.
Yeah.
You had the big sword, like the huge sword, right?
Big giant claymore.
Yeah, big claymore. So all about this game. Mm-hmm. So really, I was really digging the art, and again, I dig the art style of it too. So again,
It looked great. It was very faithful to like NES.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, I
100%.
think they kind of went the route of like Shovel Knight, where they tried to maintain the color palette of the NES.
But like modernizing a bit and add in some lighting and stuff. It looked really good. I walked by that booth like 9 times and I was like, man, that game looks really fun. Like, I feel like I've played it before. Just, you know, it's got a very generic looking gameplay, but it looks really nice.
So definitely, again, Blaster Master and Max. And then we got the chance to play a wrestling game.
Oh, yeah.
Bring us back. And I feel old. It's an old school wrestling game from Retromania Wrestling.
Yep.
Okay. So if you like arcade wrestling games from back in the day, this is the game for you.
Right.
The guy had a passion for arcade wrestling.
Yeah,
games.
well, he was saying, like, this is the spiritual successor to WrestleFest.
Yes.
If you remember the big 2-button 4-player cage match fighter from the early 90s, which everybody played that game. WrestleFest was amazing. And this felt just like WrestleFest. Yeah, and it was like kind of neat talking to the dev too, right? Because we asked him about like the lineup of wrestlers that he got. And,
they had the Legion of Doom.
They had the Legion of Doom in there, which is like, if I am anything, I am in love with the old school '80s wrestlers, right? The Jake the Snakes, the Legion of Doom, the Natural Disasters, Earthquake and Typhoon.
Oh my God! Wow, the Natural Disasters.
Like just everybody from back in the day, Hogan, Macho Man, all that stuff. So it was great to see them. I recognized a couple other guys in there.
Well, he had Johnny Nitro, which is Johnny Mundo if you watch Lucha Underground. So he and Johnny Nitro actually just signed with WWE, so he did this before he signed with WWE, so they could use his likeness, right? So they had him and a bunch of other wrestlers, old school wrestlers. The Blue Meanie from the Blue WO, was there. We actually, I got a chance to say hi to him. I didn't take a picture with him yet. I didn't get a chance to take a picture with him, but he was there, and they're using his likeness and stuff like that. So I found a glitch in the game. That was like my theme of PAX, me just finding glitches. I was finding glitches in everything every game that I played.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it was
G for glitches.
Yeah, there we go.
It was still fairly early in like the game. There was a lot of assets that were still like they were like green suit man basically. So I mean, it felt pretty good, but
so every time I try to pin you or like put you in a submission hold, I turn into the default player.
Oh yeah.
So whatever skin I had disappeared, and I was the default player.
Yeah,
I was like the guy. I was like the energy guy from The Watchmen.
Oh yeah. You were Dr. Manhattan.
Yeah, I was Dr. Manhattan. I just kept turning into Dr. Manhattan.
Yeah, so they haven't necessarily done all the assets for it yet. Like it's still a little bit early, but it looked cool.
Stevie Richards actually was on there as well. That's right, because he has a YouTube channel.
Yeah, I think there was they said maybe 12 to 16 in total for it, and possibly like more like DLC.
Yeah,
as it like goes on. I think. Don't quote me on this. I think he said free DLC. He was looking to like contribute to the game more and more, like after it gets released.
Yeah,
which is always good. I like when the devs have a commitment to the game like that.
Well, I'm on the side. I'm a big wrestling fan, right? And we don't really get a chance to talk about wrestling on the show
every now and again.
But he did say. Because we asked him, I think you asked him, he was like, is this like, AEW wrestlers?
I asked him straight up about AEW.
Yeah, he's just like, no, they because they're not interested because they have their own wrestling game in the works.
Yeah,
right?
which is I think we kind of figured behind the scenes.
Yeah,
putting it together.
Yeah. So I thought that was a great point right there. So. But if you like arcade wrestling games, this is a game for you. This is definitely old school. I would love to see like a cage match, and he did say he had like the old WWF cage, right? That was like the blue cage, like it's not like an actual like gate, like right, like the the playground gate.
Yeah.
Like if you have a Hell in a Cell, like the playground gate. It had the blue square WWF cage, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely lots of throwback nods. Even to like some of the arenas and whatnot too, I think, right?
Yeah. And he had, I think we played the Stevie Richards gym.
Yes, that's right. That's right. And there's people just working out in the background. Like there was a lot of detail like around the ring that was like kind of neat. All right, you just saw people like lifting weights and whatnot while this match is going down.
My only issue from the demo, from the build that we played, was we couldn't take, because if you go outside the ring, I can hit you with a chair. Right, but I couldn't take the chair in the ring.
Yeah,
the chair was only like outside the ring.
Yeah,
right. So that's like sort of the old school limitations from the hardware, right?
Yeah,
back in the day where you couldn't do certain things in the ring, you had to do it outside the ring.
Right.
So, but I'm definitely looking forward. Retrosoft Studios, right? So I'm gonna keep an eye on this game because my favorite, and I gotta tell you something right now. I haven't said it before on the show. My favorite old school arcade wrestling game, Rage in a Cage, Sega CD.
Also good. Yeah.
Played with Lex Luger.
Also good.
Or Bret the Hitman Hart. So
that was the one with Doink, right?
I think Doink was in Raw, Rage in a Cage, and yeah. I think he was in all those games.
Okay.
So I don't know what generation Matt's from. He's like probably saying to himself, "Who the hell is Doink?"
Yeah.
Who the hell is Doink?
I just never got into wrestling.
Oh,
You're not a wrestling fan?
No, man. I never got into it as a kid. I don't know. Just once I found out it was fake, I was like, "What's the point of this?" And then I realized like movies are fake, but I like movies, so
movies are fake.
It's not a sound argument.
it's a fun male soap opera. Like once you understand like what it is, and it's just really like a giant stage play.
Yeah.
You know, it kind of opens up a little bit, and there are people that are very good, right?
Yeah,
I think
and
now
people who aren't good.
yeah. So when you see like top talent like go up against each other, and they really understand like how to put on a good show, like that's kind of now what really gets me, right?
Yeah,
John Cena is the Hulk Hogan of our of this generation.
Sure,
right?
Yeah.
But he's done.
He is a showman through and through.
But he's done. So we're looking for the next big thing.
Yeah.
And it's not the XFL.
No.
Isn't The Rock coming back? Is he gonna get back into wrestling?
The Rock officially retired this year.
Yeah, because I think what it is. I think what it is when people do the transition, if they get hurt, because you can still get hurt doing the wrestling, then you're out of doing movies for like X amount of time.
Well, when he wrestled like a full like proper match. Which was John Cena at WrestleMania 29, I think.
Right, that was a couple of years ago, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that was like 7 years ago.
7 years ago, yeah.
Because we're at like WrestleMania 36 right now. He got hurt, which delayed the production of Hercules, that movie Hercules, and it cost like the studio $2 million.
Yep.
So they wouldn't insure him anymore if he actually wrestled full time. So he did like a unofficial match with John Cena of all people, right? At like WrestleMania 31 or 32 or something like that.
Right.
Against the White family. 32. No, it was 32 because it was in Texas. It was like their biggest WrestleMania ever. And, you know, he hardly wrestled, right? He hit the rock bottom.
Yeah.
With, you know.
He was going light.
And then he just like in a press release, like officially retired from wrestling, like in the last like 6 months. So, but let's take it back to games. Dave, you played Wasteland 3.
I did.
Got to be honest, I was surprisingly into it.
Well,
not my type of game, not my type of jam.
Right.
But I was surprisingly into it.
So you're not typically into like the tactical combat games and whatnot.
No, not me.
I know I was like, you have to try Mario Rabbids, right? Because it is a tactical game.
You championed that game.
And you were about it.
I'm about it, yeah. I made it
that game
like
was
halfway
great.
through.
That game was, for anybody who has not played that still, it's on sale all the damn time. It is so good. That game is so good. It's better than it has a right to be.
Yeah. Like it's
well, remember
weird.
If you remember when there were rumors about that game on E3, people were making fun of that.
Of course.
Rabbids and Mario?
Yeah, this doesn't make any sense. But Ubisoft and Nintendo have a great relationship, and they said, "All right, we're gonna go ahead and make this work," and they did. Are you big into that kind of style of game, Matt? Like the tactical turn based?
Yeah, I like those games, like XCOM style games.
Yeah,
yeah, for
100%.
sure. I like those a lot.
So Wasteland is Wasteland 3, the newest installment, is the one that I got to play. And me and Dan were at the booth. We were talking to the devs about the game and whatnot, trying to figure out like what was new about it. It is a little bit more complex than your Mario Rabbids game. But it is still at its core like a tactical game, and you get a squad of like up to 6. And you're now you're in like the snow-capped mountains, whereas before you were kind of in the desert, like the wastelands, hence the name of the game.
Physical release for the Xbox and PlayStation.
Yeah.
I think this one's coming to
Part
Game
2.
Pass too, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, I think so too.
I think so, yeah, and it is.
Yeah.
This also coming to PC, which is awesome. Which is like the way I typically play. But they did do a good job with Wasteland 2 consoleizing it. Making it easy to play, because there is a lot going on in that game, and like some of the new things were like vehicles. So you take like a big this big tanker, and you kind of like ride it around as like your vehicle to get to the different missions, and then you hop out of the vehicle. The vehicle's still there, so like the guy's like, click on that vehicle, right click, and fire at that dude. So you could use like the tank gun in battle as like another
wow.
unit. Which was
That's cool.
kind of cool. And then I also got to put a fox on my side. Like there was a little fox, and there was a character who had like animal communication skills. So there's like that whole tree.
Oh yeah.
And I was just like petting the dog and whatever, and then the dog became my friend, and I'm like, oh, that's awesome. And it was just a fun little Easter egg. Like he was just like following us around as like a tiny little fox. But like everybody had their own setup. There was like the sniper guy, the medic, the one who was kind of like the up close brawler, and you knew like, well, you could use these guys in this way, bring this guy up top, he could be in the sniper's perch, but like it felt good. It felt very much like 2, but better graphics, new scenery, and a bunch of new things to do in the game. So
Cool.
I love those games. I love the history of it. I love that like Fallout came from Wasteland. That was kind of a spiritual successor in a way. And then they're like, hey, like this Wasteland property, like proper, we could bring it back. And it's Deep Silver again who's working on this game, and I think another studio. And 3 is shaping up to be really good. Yeah.
Nice.
Well,
I'll have to keep an eye on it for sure.
I was, again, when we were playing the game, you played the game, I was more of a spectator. I really got into it. I was like, no, go over here, try this. Move the vehicle up. Yep. And try to bomb these guys, and then you got the sniper guy, right? Where you had to perch him up because he wasn't any good with close combat.
Nope.
And I was really I surprisingly got into it.
And
I could be, on the low, a turn-based master.
Yeah, and it was like great because you were pointing out like all of like the cool options of how to go into the level. Yeah. And that's what I think is like a big draw of it, right? They give you like here's the tiny little open world, and like you can approach it how you want. And you gave me some like great ideas on what to do, like crouch behind here and set up here, and like you were kind of connecting all the dots there. So yeah, I'm
secretly like a PC master nerd.
There you go.
You
don't
even know
on the down low.
You don't even know.
So
I thought that was awesome.
Yeah.
We all got to play from Tiny Build publisher Ramen, right?
Yep.
Well, we got to play that. Now that's sort of I get the best way to explain it is sort of like Overwatch meets Splatoon meets Overcook.
Yeah. It had a very heavy culinary theme aesthetic behind it.
Yeah, and I thought it was more like Splatoon when I first started playing, where it was like you gotta like get maybe put your whatever food you have, put the food over, like paint town with your food. Like
it'd be like a coverage type thing.
And just like last year when it was After Charge, I gotta play with keyboard and mouse, and I'm not a big keyboard and mouse guy. I'm a controller guy.
I know.
I was like, I'm gonna run this event because how hard can it be? Because I'm a keyboard and mouse guy.
Nope.
I'm gonna become a keyboard and mouse guy. And of course, I found a glitch.
Yeah.
So,
Same. I actually did too. You found a different glitch than I did.
So when you lose, when you die, they suck you up by a straw because you got to keep the food theme and put you back at the beginning. And you go back to, because you're trying to capture the flag, or in this case, capture the pot.
Yep.
Theme. I sort of got stuck between, because I was in a house, right, or there's a house over my head when I died, and the straw tried to suck me up through the house, but I couldn't go through the house, and I had to keep jumping outside the straw or the house for it to suck me all the way up and bring me back to the beginning. And I was like, I'm stuck. Why am I not moving? You can't suck me all the way up.
And that's it. Like once you have the game going and you hit a snag like that, there's nothing you can do. I ended up disconnecting from the floor after I respawned, and I just kept floating backwards, and I ran into a house, and I got stuck in the house, and I'm like, well, looks like I'm going to be 5th place.
At least I wasn't last. At least I wasn't last. That's the only thing.
Yeah. So it was for me it was okay. I don't know how you guys felt about it, but
it felt. Again, keyboard and mouse felt okay. My only issue was when we got to the actual pot, which was the crux of the game, capture the pot. You can block enemies by putting your pot over your head.
Yep.
And I kept getting confused because people would put their pots over their head, and I'm like, what pot am I trying to capture? Because they're at the pot with the pot over their head, and I didn't know if I had to capture them,
right?
Because it blended in with the pot that I'm trying to capture,
right? And then they also had the little you could put up the gingerbread.
Yeah, they're cracker walls, I think.
Yeah.
I was really excited when this first got announced. I think it was shown off during a Nintendo Direct, if I'm not mistaken, maybe a year ago or so. I was like, oh wow, this looks great. Gameplay looks fun. It looks like it's got a lot of charm to it. There's a lot of culinary puns with the names of the soups that you're carrying around. And I was like, this looks like a lot of fun. So this was one of the games I was most excited to play, and I was most let down after playing. The gameplay, as you guys mentioned, there's quite a few bugs. I ran into some bugs as well, just clipping through the floor in different environments.
Yep.
But the actual moment to moment gameplay just didn't feel good. It's clearly there's a lot of work that needs to be done on this game still.
Yeah.
But movement and the actual sloshing, you basically you shoot people with ladles of soup, if you think of it that way. So you're sloshing people, and that's how they die. It just didn't feel good. The timing kind of felt off. You can hold up and charge a shot, but there's a delay in when you actually release it and when it hits the enemy. So you have to kind of lead them, and it doesn't feel like you're using a gun. It doesn't feel like you're shooting in a third person game like Fortnite, right? It doesn't feel like you're shooting because you're throwing ladles of soup. It just, something felt off about it. And the actual gameplay itself was kind of underwhelming. It was a free-for-all match, so there was 8 of us in there, or 10 of us.
Yeah and you get in the mix of it when you're around the pot and you die, and it seems like you have so far to get back to the pot that most of the time I just felt like I was running through this environment that kind of looked the same after a while. I don't know, it definitely left a lot to be desired. I think they have a really good idea, but I think they need to kind of take a look at the core gameplay loop. Yeah, beyond all of that, I think they said it was coming out relatively soon, right? In the next couple of months.
Yeesh.
Yeah, I think it was this year that they definitely talked about that.
Yeah. I want to say over the summer, maybe. I don't know, but if that's the timeline for it, they have a ways to go. But I think we all kind of agree. The concept is great, but execution is a little lacking.
Yeah.
But you want to talk about execution lacking? You played this game.
Yeah. Well, you basically roped me into it, and you're like, you got to play this game, and I'm like, all right, I'll get into it.
Well, it looked interesting. I got to be honest. I would give it the weirdest game of PAX.
Yeah.
Or the most
unique
game.
It was
of
the
PAX.
most unique game of PAX,
and that is Speaking Simulator.
Right.
Now, we've played a lot of simulators. There's Goat Simulator. There's FedEx Simulator. Death Stranding, and
Listen, that is our game of the year, all right? Throwing shade at 2019 game of the year.
It gives hopes to every simulator game out there that you could be also game of the year.
That's right.
Just like Death Stranding.
That's right.
FedEx Simulator.
Game is good, man.
Speaking Simulator. Mm-hmm. You played it.
Yeah. Speaking Simulator.
You missed. You lost a lot of teeth in this game.
Yeah. Speaking Simulator from Affable Games on PC and coming to Switch. The main conceit of the game is you're an android who has major anxiety because you're trying to pass yourself off as a human, and you play from the camera angle of inside the android's mouth. And basically what you need to do is you have to move the tongue around and you have to hit different points inside the mouth to make the appropriate sounds, to make the appropriate sentences, to pass yourself off as a human in different scenarios. So I was on a date with a woman and it did not go well.
Oh, so it was like real life.
In this game, it did not go well. And basically, every time you mess up, like your Android parts, your kind of computer parts end up like breaking, and you start surfacing more and more that you are an Android.
You start getting nervous.
Yeah, and like
even though you're an Android, you feel nervousness.
Well, Android is half human, half robot. Otherwise you'd be a full robot. So there is some crossover there. Like you have some human emotion in this case. How much is who knows? But it's really interesting. They said there's other situations where you're at like a job interview and you have to make sure you stay you have to stay composed, make sure you hit all of the bits and get the sentences out. It was very tough. I'm gonna chalk it up to me not being good at the game. I'll say that, but hopefully it was just me in this scenario because the game does seem kind of fun. I could totally see this on the Switch, twin stick style. It was.
Well, you played it on the Switch, right? I think you played with a Pro controller.
I think I did. Yeah. It was definitely weird. It was definitely weird. I'll say that.
It's all about the tongue move.
It is all about the tongue movement.
It's all about the tongue. I don't want this show to turn anything.
It's all about the tongue movement.
Rated R, but definitely keep it rated G.
Listen. It's the only way you can explain the game, right?
Keep it rated G.
The right stick controlled the tongue.
Yeah, and you lost a lot of teeth throughout your gameplay.
I mean, I did.
Which is embarrassing during a date to have teeth fall out.
I mean, they started popping out, and then part of my head was turning to the side, and circuits were being exposed. It was not a good look. She seemed to have a good time though. I'll say that. So I mean, I would recommend anyone to check it out. I'm not sure when the launch is for Switch, but I believe you can play it now on PC. I think maybe Steam Early Access, if I'm not mistaken. So it may be worth checking out.
It wins my weirdest or most unique game.
100%. Yeah. I mean, you're never going to see another game like that unless they make a Speaking Simulator 2.
There you go. Or we can do a collaboration, Speaking FedEx Simulator.
I don't think that would work.
Why wouldn't that? You do a lot of walking, then when you finally get to the destination, you got to say the right thing.
Half of all gamers already don't like Death Stranding. Let's not add another unique element to that game to alienate fans even more. I don't know if that marriage would be good, right?
I'm just saying. Listen.
Twin stick shooter and airship navigation game, fantastic, right? Wrestling run and gun, I'm in. All right, certain things work together.
Okay.
Sports and combat, perfect. NBA Jam, great.
Okay.
Certain games work together.
All right, I'm just saying, NBA Jam meets Metal Gear. Come on. No.
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh.
I'm trying to create a new genre.
We're gonna have to go back. See, this is why we play and review these games as opposed to develop these games, Dan.
I'm just trying to create a new genre, trying to help people out. That's all I'm doing.
All right.
Why don't we take a break? When we come back, we'll get into our top games of PAX East 2020. let's get into our top games of PAX East 2020. Now, there's a game that we both didn't get a chance to play, but Matt played it, and I want to hear all about this game, and that is Moving Out.
Yeah, so Moving Out has been a game on my radar for quite some time. I think I first saw it, I want to say maybe 2018. It was during another Nintendo Direct, if I'm not mistaken. But basically, Moving Out is Overcooked, but you're moving furniture instead of cooking food. So if you know the chaotic gameplay co-op of Overcooked, think of that, but you're having to work together to carry couches and beds and all sorts of different stuff out of somebody's house, and it's very, very chaotic. I really enjoyed the gameplay that I had too. We played like it had to be one of the early levels. It's just like a small 3-bedroom home or 2-bedroom home or something, and it had a bunch of shit in there you're carrying out. But what I like about it is you can kind of have free range of motion, so you can dive through windows if you want to and throw stuff through windows to try and like get it onto the truck quicker. Some of the items require that you work with somebody else. So we were trying to get like a bed out of the bedroom, and of course like beds don't fit through doors very well, so you have to like maneuver through there with somebody else's help. And it's just like, you know, the constant communication that you have in like Overcooked, where you're yelling at somebody to get something on the stove or get something off of the stove because it's on fire. It's that same kind of a communication, but moved over to furniture.
Nice.
So I liked it. They have like little challenges in each level to kind of work towards. So like the first level, there's like one of the challenges was like, don't break the windows. So get through the level in a certain amount of time without going through windows, which was, you know, adds another layer of complexity if you're looking to get like higher score on a certain level. So but overall, I'm excited. It's coming out April 28th, I believe. So
it's pretty
next
soon,
month. Yeah.
So I played Overcooked for the first time at PAX.
Yeah.
All right. When we went to the retro part, and we played. I forgot what platform was it. The Switch.
I think we played
PS4.
I think it was PS4.
The PS4
or Xbox. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, this is cool. Like, I've never played. Listen, even as a collector, I didn't even buy it because I was like, Overcooked.
No, it's fun.
I'm
it's
okay,
fun.
but it was super fun.
Yeah.
And I got it. And you know, you guys just wouldn't let me make the sushi and wash the dishes. You guys just had to interfere.
See, communication is key in that game.
And chop
It is. That game is notorious for ruining friendships. It's definitely
it will make or break.
It's a chaotic game. Yeah.
So I'm actually curious of two things. One, did they implement, or were they planning on implementing like a twist and turn mechanic for like, say, like couches that can't fit through a door? Is there a way to like manipulate the furniture to make it fit?
So you have like one person grab one edge of the couch, the other person grabs the other edge, and you guys kind of just like fishtail it like through a door. You kind of have to like wiggle it through the door.
Neat.
It doesn't. Yeah, there's not a way to like turn or rotate the furniture. I think they want to go for like, you know, a little bit more simple gameplay. They want it to be really accessible for everyone, just be able to pick up and play and keep the controls relatively straightforward. But you can like with a couch or with a bed or something that's like requiring two people, you can work together and like swing it and get momentum and throw it, because there's certain levels later in the game that you'll have to like throw stuff across a gap, you know, onto the moving truck. So you can't actually go there. You have to actually like time it and swing it. And there's a whole, you know, element of timing there that you have to get down. But yeah, I only got to play one level, so I can't speak too much to what the later stages of the game actually feel like. But I enjoyed what I played. It definitely feels like one of those get 3 other friends together and jump on the couch and just yell at each other for an hour.
Yeah. I mean, it feels very Overcooked. And then the other question was, I don't know if they actually demoed any of this, but the story mode, you didn't necessarily get to see the opening cinematics, Dan, in like Overcooked, but the story is bananas. In part 2, somebody in that game world raises the unbred. Right, it's all food based, and you basically have to ward off the enemies by like completing restaurant challenges somehow. I mean, they make it work in the game world, and considering Moving Out is that same kind of like style of gameplay and whatever else, I wonder if there's like a story to boot on that's just as wacky. But yeah,
they kind of set you up like you're doing a training for gosh, I forgot what the name is. It was like some funny acronym, but they had like the opening cinematic was basically like a training video, and you're all like new employees for this moving company, and obviously they want you to get people's stuff to the truck safely without breaking it. But in the midst of all the chaos, things are gonna break and shit's gonna hit the fan real quick. But I'm sure there's gonna be like a light story throughout. It is it's being published by Team 17, and they're also the same publishers of Overcooked. So I'm sure there might be some crossbreeding there with some of the same mechanics and having kind of a similar story narrative tied through.
Oh, nice.
Well, since I played Overcooked, now I kind of want to try out Moving Out.
We gotta play some Moving Out.
We gotta play some we gotta play some more Overcooked.
We have to play Overcooked too. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. But a game I've been championed. That was one of my top games at PAX. All right, it was one of my top games. The first one was one of my top games at PAX
2 years ago. Yeah,
and that was 20XX. But this year, the sequel, 30XX. I brought all of you guys to come see it. Even Seth Macy from IGN. I saw him randomly just walking in the PAX, and I was like, what game do you think we should look out for? And he even said this game, and I said, yo, listen, that game is awesome.
Yep.
Right, and that is 30XX. And I say this is like the best way I can describe it is Mega Man X meets Dead Cells. Right, because it was like Mega Man X. Definitely a Mega Man X vibe with the characters, right, and sort of like the mechanics meets Dead Cells as far as the roguelike stages.
Yeah, everything's fairly random. Although they made it a little bit more structured. Like I know one of the big things in 20XDX was a lot of the same bosses shared the same stages.
Yeah.
And now they kind of made it like it's still random and the levels are still created randomly and the boss rooms are slightly random, but every boss has their own like aesthetic this time around, which I thought was kind of cool.
Yeah, and I brought Matt to this. I was like, Matt, you gotta listen. You gotta play this game.
Yeah.
Like this is awesome. And I'm not a big roguelike type fan. Like I don't want the stages to be different every time because I want to be able to memorize what I need to do to get through the stage.
Well, you can't necessarily. You have to get good at the mechanics.
Yeah,
and then
this is
deal
all
with
about
what they throw at you.
This is all about the mechanics and what they throw at you. Yeah, and that's not usually my type of game. But and Mega Man games are just like historically hard in itself, right? And I'm not a big, I'm not really good at any other Mega Man games per se, especially the Mega Man X games.
They are tough. Yeah.
They are tough, but. I was really digging this game. Like I really dig the challenge, and again, it's like it was only 2-player co-op, right? Yeah.
2-player co-op.
Yeah, they wouldn't do more than 2 because it would be sort of chaotic.
It
all
would
over
be
the
very
place.
it'd be total chaos.
But it wasn't easy. Even a demo wasn't easy. It was pretty tough.
Yeah.
So Matt,
I was blown away by it. I thought it was fantastic, and I'm traditionally not a Mega Man guy. I do like roguelike games though, so. This one definitely it felt really good. The movement was really tight. The combat was fun. You and I both, we had some like cooperative elements with some of the puzzles and like platforming puzzles and stuff. So visually it looks fantastic, especially compared to 20XX. This looks like a huge step up graphically and adding in. They didn't have like a Zero type character in 20XX, right?
It was only single player, I think. Yeah, there was I think Mega Man, and you could play as like a role type character.
Okay.
But you could only do it like a single player. I think multiplayer, like the 2-player co-op, is one of the new things.
Zero
was.
I'm very excited. This game went from I didn't even know it existed, and now it's like very much on my radar.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he was very passionate about this game. Like, he even said, like, Mega Man was, like, his biggest inspiration. Mega Man X was his biggest inspiration.
It definitely shows through and through, yeah. TBD on the I think, the launch of this game?
Oh, yeah, 100%. This was, like, early. This is an early build of it.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't commit to any platforms, even though, I mean, come on, this has to be on the Switch.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's made for consoles.
It's made for consoles. I bought 20XX sort of like, because I think when we went to PAX, it was like out later on, like maybe in the summer of that year, right, of 2018. And I bought it, and I sort of, I get lost in a shuffle of things. I was playing God of War and other games.
Yeah.
And I did download it, and I played a little bit of it, and I re-downloaded it, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to restart my save. and definitely, this is a game where I'm like, 20XX was like, oh, like this game is really awesome. right? I don't know how they're going to do. They do have like currency in the game, right? So it's not microtransactions as far as like real money.
No,
currency.
I mean you get to pick up that and then buy stuff like basically in the same level.
Yeah. So I don't know how I feel about that yet. Right? Like I don't know how I feel about like you actually picking up in-game currency, right? And to use to upgrade. So I mean, I guess I understand why where you would force you to, okay, well, there's coins over here. Let me try to pick those up. Right? Yeah.
That's probably something with the roguelite elements too. Like maybe those upgrades are persistent throughout runs. You know, maybe you lose all the money that you collected after you die, but maybe the upgrades that you purchased are persistent like Dead Cells.
I think there's stuff in the main hub world. If I'm remembering 20xdx properly, you get stuff that does persist, and then you can buy stuff like helmet upgrades and whatever else. The stuff you buy in your runs, I think, is temporary, but they do have like permanent stuff. Yeah,
I would say the only thing I don't like about 20xdx, 20xx,
right,
which may be similar in 30xx, is the hub world, right? Like I'm more of a linear guy, right? And this hub world had the same vibes as Jump Force, right? Or any of the Dragon Ball Z Xenoverse, right? Where the hub world was just like cumbersome. It's like where do I go? What do I need to do? Right? And I'm just like, I could do without. It could have been a little bit more simplistic where like I'm going to play the game and a hub world isn't sort of like the game where it's just a menu. I would have been fine with the hub world just being a menu, right? Not like an actual in-game where I'm controlling a character and I have to go to a certain spot.
Right. To get into that particular area.
Yeah. I just think that just is super confusing, especially, you know, if you add different elements to it and it's like, well, where do I need to go? Or what do I need to do? Or how do I progress? So that was my only issue with that. I would think my biggest surprise... And I got to be honest, this is my biggest surprise of PAX. If there's an award called the biggest surprise of PAX, and maybe we could create it because we can create it, I would give it to Boyfriend Dungeon.
The game that you were vehemently, Dave, you play this. I don't want to play this game.
You know what? I own that. I totally. I gave my word, and I'm all about a man. Listen, I'm a person of my word, right? And I said, I gave my word that we would play it, and it's Boyfriend Dungeon, right?
Yep.
I was like, you know, Dave. I mean, it was Sunday. I was like, Dave, you know, I said we would play it. You know, you want to, you know, I think this is your type of game as far as like dungeon crawler.
I mean,
right?
Spoilers, it is a roguelike, I think, right? I think the dungeons that you go into are randomized. And, you know, the loot you get, the monsters you fight, somewhat are randomized. But the conceit is that you get to date your weapons.
You have to treat your weapons like you really are in a relationship, right?
Right.
You're trying to date them.
Oh yeah,
right. Because your weapons are really moody and needy.
Yep.
Like they need to be caressed and
they need some loving. Their weapons need some loving.
They have an ego. They really do. You got to tell them you really miss them and you love them. And I was a little about this game. I mean, and I knew nothing about this. I was going strictly off the name, Boyfriend Dungeon, right? And we made it by. And I said, you know what? All right, I'll play it.
Yeah.
I'm surprisingly, I really got into it. I was, you know, sweet talking my swords.
That's right. And I did hear because we were kind of talking to the devs a little bit, and I was overhearing some conversations, and apparently you can date a cat. So you can date men. You can date women.
If you don't want to commit to a specific person or gender, you can just date the cat.
That's
which
fantastic.
Is awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I found myself sweet talking, you know, my sword, you know, different swords, but jealous. I was just like, listen, you're the only sword for me, girl. You know, you're the only sword for me, baby.
You tell that to the same. You tell that to the other sword, and you tell that to the other sword.
Hey, sweetheart.
But you don't let the other swords know that you said that to the other swords.
You're the only sword for me. I mean, come on. Everybody knows I only like samurai swords. Come on. You know, I don't like daggers. Daggers are too small.
Yeah. So I didn't get to hear the music in the game, but I was under the impression from like what they said that it's going to be very early 90s, bubblegum pop kind of stuff. Is that right?
Yeah. And listen, we didn't get a chance to really listen to the opening like cinematic. We didn't see the cinematic scene. Because PAX was like almost done.
It was about an hour left by the time we got.
Yeah, so we just wanted to jump into the game, but I did listen to a few seconds of it, and I was like, this is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I was like, all right. I thought it was going to be like, boyfriend dungeon. It's going to be kind of,
It's got a weird conceit.
It does.
I will not fault you on that.
And in the dungeon crawl aspect, I was really into it. Like, I was like, oh, I should let other people play because like PAX is going to close soon.
Yeah.
But, like, I was like, this is really cool.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
I think we can nominate this as second most unique game of PAX. Second to Speaking Simulator.
It was the second most unique game at PAX, but number one as far as surprise.
Yeah. It was solid. Played really well. It's going to be on the Switch, so you can go ahead and play it on the go. And I think it's made for on the go. You can kind of just pick up, put it down, run through a dungeon if you want to, romance your damn scimitar, and then put it down for a little bit. Like
I'm interested to see what type of weapons they put in the game, right? I just want to know if my chainsaw is going to be jealous of my samurai sword.
Chainsaws would be very unique.
Chainsaw is historically a very jealous weapon.
Well,
Very aggressive.
Very aggressive too. Yeah,
Don't like competition.
they don't like competition. I didn't know. Dungeon crawl aspect is cool, right? Like it being sort of roguelike. My only issue when I was in the dungeon, like I got a different, like you get like special moves or special, right? You get like, I guess, different books.
Power-up moves.
Like
yeah.
the books were like different power-up moves.
Yeah.
And I picked up a book that looked different. They gave me a different power-up move.
Yep.
But every time the power-up move would sort of come up, it would be that same book. And I want to change it. I didn't want that book anymore. I was like, this power-up move sucks. I wanted the power-up move I had in the beginning.
Yeah.
Right? And
Yeah.
I had no idea how to get that power-up move back. Because I should have never picked up this book.
Right.
They gave me this power-up, which I didn't think helped me at all as I was going through the dungeon.
Right.
So that would be my only critique. I don't know, how they would, make that. I don't know how that works. I
think it all comes down to the hub world in your cell phone. I think is where you do all that stuff, but a lot of that stuff was locked out. So I don't know. It's it's still got a little ways to go before it comes out, right?
They definitely didn't have a release date yet.
No. But I would suspect later this year. I think because it was in pretty good shape.
Definitely 2020. They said.
Yeah.
Matt, how did you like this game? I know you played it. Come on. You like romancing your sword.
I didn't get hands on, but I watched gameplay of it there, and it looks like a lot of fun. I thought it was very charming. Obviously, like such a unique premise. I love that the main character like drinks boba tea to refill health. I thought that was very cool. That was a nice touch. It looks fun, man. I definitely want to get hands on with this. When I first heard about it, I was like, damn, that's a silly ass idea for a game.
Yeah,
but then actually seeing it in motion, I think it looks great. The actual gameplay looks tight. Like the art style is very cute. The character dodge roll looks really fun. Everything. I'm all about it, man. I think I'm definitely gonna get this one.
And I think what Ramen tried to do, right? They had a really good aesthetic and failed on the execution. I think Boyfriend Dungeon had a really good, if not weird, aesthetic and hit the execution pretty well. Like
I would agree.
This is kind of like a much better version of that.
Definitely, I would agree on that.
Even though like the gameplay is different, but it did definitely feel really good. And this is kind of one of those games if you have a weird idea like this and the execution is bad, nobody's gonna like it. They're just gonna go eh.
I just want to know what happens when one sword gets jealous of another sword.
You're gonna have some conflict.
Duel.
You may drop a sword.
They're like, you know what? I no longer want to date you. I am not your sword anymore. I'm a single sword.
Yeah,
I'm a
right?
strong, independent scimitar.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
how funny is that?
You got to get your chainsaw. I get my chainsaw on a rebound.
Yeah.
There you go.
This game was pretty cool.
Yeah.
A game that I was high on in aesthetics, and and I didn't get a chance to play, but I dragged you to it.
You did, yeah.
And then I actually got the chance to play it.
Yep. And
and
we sat down for a bit with it.
And I was a little down on. Mm-hmm. And maybe that's because the demo, they didn't reset the demo. I sort of took up somebody else's gameplay, which totally could be could be fair. Mm-hmm. But you were high on afterwards. Like you were really high on this game. Like you put this in one of your top games.
Yeah.
And that is Cloudpunk. I don't know why I had Cyberpunk in my head.
Cloudpunk. Well, I'll tell you why you had Cyberpunk.
Cyberpunk is talking about me right now.
Yeah,
That's
I'll tell you why you had Cyberpunk in the brain, because I don't know about you, Matt, but we did see a ton of Cyberpunk aesthetics in video games.
Yes.
That seemed to be the theme this year.
That was the hot game. Definitely everyone's trying to chase the hype from Cyberpunk 2077 coming out this year. They want to cash in on that. They want to make sure they're in the conversation too. I'm all about it because that's definitely like one of my favorite aesthetics. But I can see that it's starting to get saturated a bit.
Right. Just like, we're gonna do the like pixel art. We're gonna do a twin stick pixel art shooter game, and it's like another one. But Cloudpunk did stand out a little bit because of the conceit of the game, which was funny because I think I mentioned it to you that there's this game where you're a taxi cab driver in like a cyberpunk aesthetic world, and you're like, it's this game, right? I'm like, no, it's this game. So there's another taxi game in the same vein as Cloudpunk, but I think that game is the cameras from the back seat. And you play like the taxi cab driver.
That's true. That is correct.
And that game like seemed kind of cool. This one was a little more like open world 3D. You get to drive the cab around like Blade Runner or Fifth Element style. Which was cool, and then you can park it, get out, and you can kind of run around the game world. I think the thing that you were down about, Dan, maybe, and tell me if I'm wrong, but you didn't know what to do necessarily or where to go. Like,
well, again, I started off with somebody else's demo play, so I was a little bored. Mm-hmm. I didn't know where to go. I didn't know what to do. Mm-hmm. I got lost. I didn't like the camera angle when we were going through like the garage or different buildings. Yeah. Where it shoots me from behind when I go through the door.
And then it spins it around.
And then it spins it around and I'm like, am I going or coming? Coming and going. I don't know. And I go back and it takes me back to the place and the camera spins around again. Yeah. So I was a little confused on that part. I didn't know what to do. Right, I was speaking to people and I got nowhere. The whole talking to people seemed smooth, and I was like, okay, good. I got the hang of this. I just didn't know. I was bored. I didn't know what the conceit of the demo was. But flying a taxi felt really good. I will say that.
Yeah, I mean, I do know that the missions I think are supposed to play out over like the driving missions that you pick up a fare. And then something will start to unravel, and then you have to like do that particular bit. So I think a lot of that stuff wasn't necessarily on display. Like I know what it was saying in the bottom right hand corner is like you have to get through the security checkpoint, and I'm like, where's the security checkpoint? And there was a dot on the map, but it was a little hard to get to. So I agree on all those points, but I just assumed that we were both like thrown into the middle of this thing. And I think they'd do a better job, like if there was like the opening tutorial missions, here's how you play, and kind of get us into it a little bit, and then like start off with some of the story. I think we'd feel a little better about it, but I'm pretty hopeful that it'll like turn out to be a good game in the end.
Well, it looks good, like I said.
Yeah. Aesthetics were very high for me.
But Matt, I know you were high about this game, and I mean, you kept telling me about it. I didn't get a chance to play. I know Dave did, but tell me about This Room.
All right, so I'm a huge fan of Devolver Digital games. Like anything they publish, I'm usually on board with. Like they seem to pick really good studios to work with. So this was no exception. I saw this one. I think they announced it like shortly before PAX East. So I was like, okay, I'm in. The aesthetic looks cool. It's basically looks like a top-down like Zelda dungeon. Imagine that. You got the different doors up on the top, right and left and bottom. You're moving through these areas, but in each room, these like chainsaw like discs start spawning, and they're different shapes and sizes. They have different movement patterns, and you're this little character that's just trying to outrun them. So the game's essentially just a huge bullet hell, but with chainsaws instead, or like saw blades.
Well, saw blades, yeah.
Instead of like bullets coming at you. But they give you different challenges in each room. Like, one room it's going to have survive more than 5 seconds, survive more than 10 seconds, die by 3 different blade types. And as you progress through those challenges, you unlock more rooms which have different blades, different challenges. The demo that they had there was fairly limited, so I don't know what the actual overall plot of the game is going to be. Are you just moving through these rooms? I don't know if they're procedural. I don't know if there's going to be more, in store other than just more and more blades. But at the end of the day, I had a lot of fun. It's definitely one of those good games to just kind of palate cleanse in between, something big. Just jump in, play a few rounds of Disc Room, and hop out.
Yeah. I kind of felt the same way. It was a little weird at first, because you kind of had to throw yourself into the blade sometimes to finish some of the other challenges. And I was like, because I was watching other people play, I'm like, why are they actively trying to kill themselves? And then when I got into the game, it was like, oh, kill yourself in 7 different ways or 8 different ways by 8 different blades. I was like, oh, interesting. Sad though that I took a look at the website. It said PC only right now.
Yeah, I saw that too, and that seems. I feel like this is going to come to more platforms. This feels like perfect for the Switch for sure. I mean, this game's definitely built for a controller. I can't imagine doing this on mouse and keyboard.
Oh yeah, that'd be weird.
Yeah, so it seems weird that it would be PC only, but at least for now, that looks like the only official platform.
Well, just to take it back, Boyfriend Dungeon, Switch, and Steam so far. Cloudpunk, everything.
Yeah,
PC, Xbox, Switch, and PS4.
Yeah.
So, Disc Room, looking forward to it, to check it out. I totally missed it. I didn't even see the booth for it, so I had no idea what game this was.
Yeah. Yeah, they had a couple, I think 2 play areas set up at the Devolver booth.
They had that and Carry On display, and their booth was awesome. They have the games were set up like arcade cabinets, so you kind of just walk up to the arcade cabinet and they had controllers there, so you're just playing, but you're the screen was embedded inside of the shell of an arcade cabinet, and they were stylized to look like the actual games. It was very cool.
Yeah.
So I gotta say, I was really surprised in this game too, and I really like this game, and it's called Disjunction. Okay. Now, I called it as soon as I saw it. I talked to the dev, and I dragged you to see this game.
I mean, I was like, all right, I'll play this game.
And I dragged Matt too, and we'll talk about that in a second. But I said, I get vibes of Metal Gear meets Hotline Miami, and he was like, yes, I hit it right there on the nail. It definitely has that Hotline Miami aesthetic, top down. Your top-down action stealth RPG, right, in a cyberpunk world, right? That's single player only, and you get to play. Throughout the story, you're going to play one of 3 characters, right? You're going to play all 3 characters, but this story we played this one character.
Yeah, I think that was the one available.
Yeah, the only one available. And I love Hotline Miami. My only issue with Hotline Miami is one hit kill. Right, and I think I made it to the 3rd level, and I got frustrated. If Hotline Miami was maybe 3 hits, right? So I can know where I make my mistake and adjust. And here you can always, it definitely wasn't 1 hit, but I think it was maybe you did have a life bar, which could be up to 3 hits from what I can tell.
Right.
Of the 2 times I did play the demo, because I definitely had to play it again. And you can have a different ending because they're dialogue options. So you can play the game if you want to sort of be a jerk, or if you want to be a nice guy.
Sure, right? Sure. And that's kind of one of the things I thought that Katana Zero was going to be like. The dialogue options would change the way the game played. That sadly didn't have it, but this game does. And even in the play style too, right? where I was kind of going in like guns a-blazing, like killing people, and
which is usually my style.
yeah. And the agent on the other line, I mean, I missed it in the dialogue options, but she said, go in stealth and try not to kill anybody. And I killed like everybody, and then I gave the controller to Dan, and he's like, "What did you do?" I almost got fired from the mission. I'm like,
She almost killed me herself.
Yeah, right.
I had to smooth it over her, and then the next mission, I actually went in stealth, and you could throw like sort of like a pipe bomb, or like or a gas bomb,
smoke bomb.
There we go, where they can't see you, right? And you can go in and sort of take them down, unlethal, like you're just knocking them out, and you could drag the bodies around so nobody else can see them. So I really had a really fun time with this. I thought this was like super cool, super unique. I haven't played a game like this ever, personally. All right. So, and again, I love Hotline Miami and Hotline Miami 2, just too difficult with the one-hit kills, which is why I was so on the fence about Katana Zero when you first told me about it, because I was like, it's just Hotline Miami with the sword, right? One-hit kill.
Yeah.
But it's definitely unique, aesthetic, because it was
slow down mechanics.
Slow down mechanic, and it was side-scrolling instead of top-down.
Right.
And then I dragged Matt at the last, PAX is closing in 10 minutes, and I dragged Matt to I was like, you got to play this junction before you leave here, man. So how did you like it? How was your
Yeah, I thought it was very cool. I definitely like the stealth elements. The demo that we played was so short, though. Like, it just piqued my interest enough.
I think you were a jerk like Dave.
No, I didn't kill anyone. I knocked him out. One person actually jumped out and scared me, and I did shoot them accidentally. But
it happens.
Yeah, everybody else I just like knocked out and dragged them away. But no, I thought it was cool. Definitely, I like the stealth elements. I like that the characters have different abilities. They did say there's going to be 3 characters, so different abilities for each one as you play throughout the story. I do want to see what the story looks like, how long the game's going to be overall.
He said about 8 hours.
What I played, I really enjoyed.
Well, overall, he did say about between 6 and 8 hours.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Which is a good length for a game like
that. I think so.
Yeah. No, I thought it was a very cool mashup of genres. I think stealth games, there aren't very many of them anymore. People have been clamoring for like a new Splinter Cell for years.
Yeah.
Obviously Metal Gear's kind of now a defunct series. So it's nice to have this genre that's underrepresented still being made, especially in an indie way too, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
So I was very high on this game. But I got to say, Matt, you were telling me about this game called Going Under, and you were all in on this game, and this is like one of you're going to miss something at PAX, right? It's so much going on at PAX. I totally missed this. At least this room I walked past. I remember seeing it. I never got a chance to play it.
Well, we never made it to Team 17 because they were all the way in the left-hand corner.
Yeah, and Going Under. I don't know nothing about this game. So talk me up.
I had a little tour of Team 17's booth, so that's where I played Moving Out. I played a handful of games. They had what's the game that they do? The Escapists.
The Escapists.
So they're doing a new game called The Survivalists, which is an original game by Team 17 that I got to play. That was fun. There's quite a few games that I got hands on with at their booth that were fun, right? But they seemed like experiences that I've either had before or wasn't really pushing the boundary too much. Going Under is immediately. He kind of pitched it to me. He's like, yeah, we got this game Going Under. It's basically it's like a post-apocalyptic society, and you're playing as like an intern, and you're going through these failed tech startups, and the bosses of each of the startups are the actual bosses of those previous companies, but they're all like goblins and zombies and weird enemies now. And I was like, okay, that sounds interesting. So I jumped in. First of all, the art style was great. It's kind of like an isometric dungeon crawler, procedurally generated. But what's really cool is everything in the rooms you can pick up and use as weapons. So you can pick up file cabinets and throw them at people. You can pick up actual weapons. I mean, anything that you see, you can use as a weapon. And they do have deterioration, so you can't use the same weapon for too long. It'll break eventually, so it forces you to get outside of your comfort zone and pick up different things and try them. There's a lot of different power-ups, and you're collecting money the whole time, and you can go into these little shops, kind of like Zelda, pick up some stuff, upgrade. It was surprisingly good. It had a nice little sense of humor. The art style was really cute.
I saw that. Was there
What's
not
that?
like I saw that there was vehicles in there? Like I took a quick look at the trailer.
Yeah,
that you could hop
I didn't
into,
come
like-
across any vehicles in the demo that I played through, but that would be awesome.
Yeah.
I got through and basically like went up against one of the bosses of the dungeon that I was in, and it was fun, man. It was a really cool fight. It was hectic. The boss had different attack patterns than the other enemies that you find in the other rooms, so there was definitely some strategy there. You can hold, I think, 3 different weapons at a time, which is kind of cool. So you can cycle through, and some of the weapons have, besides being more powerful or less powerful, some of them had special abilities, which was kind of neat. But it was just so cool to like literally pick up anything and use that as a weapon, like a stylus from a tablet. I was like, shit! I was frantically running around the room, and all of the weapons that I had were breaking because the boss obviously had much more health, and so I was like, shit! I'm gonna have to just hit him with a little stylus, and like, it doesn't do very much damage, but it's just it is very cool. So I'm going under. I'm definitely gonna keep my eye on this one.
Nice.
I think the premise is cool. It's enough to get me in the door, and then once I actually started playing it, I was like, this gameplay actually feels really good.
Is there multiplayer? Do you know offhand or?
I don't know. I don't think so. It doesn't seem like. I mean, it does seem like a game that would lend well to multiplayer, but I don't think there is going to be multiplayer in it.
Oh wow, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I was surprised. So going under. If you like roguelike dungeon crawlers, then this is a good one. The gameplay was like, I mean, very, very like Diablo light. Like if I could explain it in another term, that's kind of what it felt like. But there's like far less abilities, but the actual dungeon crawling aspect of it and the different enemies and kind of how combat felt if you're playing like more of a melee class.
Okay.
Nice.
All right. So I think I would give the most polished game of PAX. The game that came out of nowhere, apparently, like a couple of days before PAX started, this like apparently blew up on Reddit, and I found it by accident, right? Because we were waiting for an appointment to go see another game.
Yeah.
And then I told Matt about it. I was like, Matt, you got to go try this game too, and that's Ghost Runner, right? And it's honestly like Ninja Gaiden meets Mirror's Edge, or Doom meets Ninja Gaiden meets Mirror's Edge, right?
I mean,
I'd
it's
almost
certainly-
say a first-person Katana Zero is
There you
almost
go.
almost
100.
exactly what the game is.
Yeah. Right.
You know what? First
Like-
person Katana Zero in the Cyberpunk universe.
I mean, that's almost what Katana Zero is. Though.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah,
it's
I know.
almost like continue, but yeah, I would say the easiest way to explain it is a first-person Katana Zero.
Yeah. 100%. It looked beautiful. It definitely had like visuals on par with any like AAA game out there now. I was very impressed with that. Their booth was imposing, to say the least. But
You don't like those chain link fences that are blown
I mean, it
open?
had a good aesthetic, but
Come on.
it was very
It didn't give you vibes of Days Gone from last year.
a little bit. Yeah, no. I felt like the world was
Just
ending.
no zombies.
I think they just recycled that booth. I think they just
There you
found
go.
it in the back
They
and just
may
cleaned it up a
have.
bit.
It was out back behind the BCE.
They said Sony, since you're not coming, can we borrow some of your chain link fence? Can we
You know,
borrow
they
this?
may have.
Yeah.
You may have.
It looked cool, it looked good. I wasn't any good at the game. I didn't think it did a great job of explaining all, because you had I'm assuming all of the, if not a lot of the ability. I kept when I tried to do the slowdown motion, I kept sort of speeding up by accident.
Yeah.
Right? And I
Oh,
didn't even know I
you
was
gotta
doing
hold
that.
it down. Yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't realize that the slowdown motion was only when you actually jump.
When you jump in the air,
Yeah. So I was
Otherwise, you do like a dash forward, I think.
Yeah. I was trying to slide and then slow down, but then I kept dashing forward and getting killed. And I was like,
Yep.
why does this keep happening? Why does this keep happening?
Yeah, I felt the same. It took a little bit to get used to that. Once you got into like the groove, like it felt like pretty good, and like they kept giving you like, here's this new mechanic and here's this new mechanic, and I'm like, oh, this is awesome. I can wall run, I can jump, I can slide, I can slow down time, I can side dash. Sadly, I didn't get to the grappling hook. I don't know if you guys happen to get to the. Like,
No, I
grappling
didn't.
hook
I
section?
didn't get to the grappling hook at all.
Oh baby, I got there and I finished. It was good.
Yeah.
it definitely has a learning curve. I thought right away, like, aesthetics were right on par with what I like. Cyberpunk universe, like, very dark, but the movement was very, very good. Like, the movement is so fluid, like the wall running, everything feels really, really good. And extremely polished for an indie studio. Like, I looked at what the other games they had made prior to this, and they're like top-down 2D strategy games and side-scrolling 2D platformer type stuff. So this is a huge departure from what they were making previously. So hats off to these guys for really going all in. LOL, because that's the name of their studio.
All.
Yeah,
Very,
all in
very,
games.
very new studio too. Like all their games came out in the last 2 years.
Yeah. So this is a really very ambitious project that they've got, but everything felt really good. It sounds like the game's kind of taking place in like a tower. So it's like in the future, civilizations all been confined to this tower, and basically as you move up through the tower, you're going to see more and more of the wealthy portions of society. So they did say the environments will change as you move up. You'll definitely get more abilities. You'll get the ability to deflect bullets later. So enemies shooting at you, if you time it, you can kind of deflect the bullets back and kill them. You'll be able to slice through bullets if you time that as well. So I'm really
too, I think,
curious to see how they keep the gameplay fresh. The demo that I played last, you can get through the demo in like 5 or 6 minutes if you're good. I probably played for about 10-15 minutes. So it took me a little bit to get used to the slowdown. Like you said, Dan, I was dashing a lot, and I was like, oh, you have to hold it down to actually do the slowdown for dodging and stuff. But once I got the movement and the abilities down, it started to click, and man, it resonated with me, and I could not stop thinking about this game. And I'm still thinking about this game, and I cannot wait to play it when it comes out later this year.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing about demos, right? Because they give you, they show you everything that you can do in the game because it's a demo. But in the real game, they spoon feed you so you get used to mastering, the techniques, the mechanics, right? And not giving you everything all at once. So I think that for me, that my only issue is because it was a demo. I had all the ability at once, but it may not be indicative of how we play the game when it comes out.
Yeah, they'll probably parse it out a little bit too. And
I thought it was delivered at a pretty comfortable cadence. Like, the game's fast enough that when you get hit, it's a one-hit kill situation like Hotline Miami, right? So you get hit, you respawn immediately. There's no loading screen, which I thought was great. Just like Katana Zero, right? You get hit, you go back to the beginning of the room. But as you're moving through these areas, they're very linear. Some of them have a couple different paths that you can take, but for the most part, it's point A to point B. But you start to develop muscle memory as you're going through these areas. And just like Katana Zero, the mistakes that you made, and who to look out for and when. And I thought that they gave the abilities at a pretty comfortable pace in this. So I would be surprised if they spread it out. I think that would make the gameplay start to feel more stale. But at the same time, I also don't know how long this campaign is going to be, because if it is moving this quickly, this game might only be a 3-hour long game, right?
Yeah, it definitely got to be more. Yeah, than that. I almost guarantee they have more abilities they haven't shown us.
Yeah, like I do know because you were talking to the dev, or one of the devs, I should say, and they had kind of mentioned that it wasn't in the demo per se, but they were going to have shurikens, right? So you could do like range combat.
That's right.
So like that was definitely a thing that was forthcoming. You didn't always have to like close in on the enemy or use like your abilities to close in on the enemy. So we do know that was in the cards too. But like one of the things that you had brought up, Dan, too, was like, this is a game for speedrunners. Like you said that like
100%
almost immediately.
Oh,
and that kind of goes to your point, Matt, about how the game is so fast paced and whatnot. It may be a game that is quick to complete, but people may keep trying to go back. They may have like leaderboards for fastest speed run and whatnot. I feel like you could get a small community around that possibly. Which
for sure, yeah. And the developer that I spoke with, he brought up a good point. He said, these abilities that you have allow you to play the game so differently that you could play through the game one gameplay, your first playthrough, you might try and just dodge, slow down and dodge and close the gap on the enemies. Maybe the next playthrough, you only slice through bullets. So you slice through bullets to get closer to them. Maybe the third time you go through and you're parrying everything and deflecting bullets, right? So you can really challenge yourself and play the game completely differently. And I think that will really lend well for speedrunners too. Like, hey, this speedrun, we're only going to use this one ability to get through the entire game, right? So yeah, this game is like perfect for speedrunning.
Yeah.
I got to be honest, a game that just caught my eye in like
It hit us out
PAX
of the blue.
Rising, right?
Yeah.
Like, and every year there's a game like at PAX Rising that like gets my eye.
And those are personally selected by
PAX.
the Penny Arcade team, right? They say we really like these games. We're gonna put you in this special section.
And I think at this point in the at PAX, I was sort of like platformed out. Right? Like everything was like a Metroidvania style cyberpunk world platformer, and I was just platformed out. I wanted something different to cleanse my palate. And I got it, and this came out of nowhere, and I think I just told you I was sort of platformed out, and I was like, oh, what's this game, right? And it's called Grid Fight, and we both played it at the same time. I thought this was fantastic. It was right up my alley, something different, like a grid-based battle game. I thought you said it was reminiscent of Mega Man.
It's like the Mega Man EXE games, where you kind of move Mega Man around the grid to kind of get proper positioning to avoid like attacks and to get the most amount of damage. It felt a lot like that 5x5 grid. You could swap out between like 5 different characters, which was really cool, and you could do that like on the fly.
It was all female based, characters, exaggerated too. I love the Japanese character. She had like this big bazooka type of gun, right? So everything is like over the top. Yeah, everything was like over the top, sort of in the style of Guacamelee, right? Right?
Yeah. It felt a little like a Mexican. I don't want to say Day of the Dead theme, but it kind of like the Guacamelee theme. Yeah.
And I like the fact that when the enemies attack you, not only is the grid like they're throwing like missiles or fire bombs at you, your grid is changing different colors as well, and you got to sort of memorize like, all right, so there's like 3 or 4 different colors, and once it hits green, it's going to go to red, and if it goes to red and it goes all, and you see the line going all across the grid, once it hits the end of the grid, it's going to blow up. Right, so it's sort of like that puzzle action where we got to the boss battle and like every line on the grid was turning different colors.
Yeah,
and we had to know, oh, this is yellow. I can go here because the next one is going to be blue because after that is red. All right, and I know I'll be safe here, and then I go up because that's sort of like yellow, and I know that's going to be blue and then red. Right, so you had to sort of memorize the color pattern too. Yeah, so it had like a little puzzle based element to it, which I thought was fantastic.
It was chaotic, but I felt like there was like, well, they have patterns for their attacks, so I felt like you kind of knew where you could go eventually, right? We got hit like a bunch of times and whatnot, but
and you want to talk about Ghost Runner. All in games, turning this game around pretty quickly. They turned this game around in less than a year.
That's right, like 6 months, I think.
Yeah, 6. Yeah. It was like 6 months. And they wanted to put it out in like another 5 months, so this game would get like a less than year turnaround.
Yeah, and it was pretty polished for what we saw.
But I found a glitch. I couldn't respond.
I mean,
I was like,
you found a glitch in like every game you played.
Listen, 30XX. Matt found a glitch. I thought I was like the shit.
You were invincible, right?
I was like killing this boss, and I was like, this boss is pretty easy. And Matt was like, you're not getting any damage.
Yeah, something was up with that for sure.
Yeah. And then on a grid fight, like I died. I was supposed to respawn after I forgot what was the catalyst for me to respawn, but I could see I'm switched between the characters. Right. But I'm not responding. I'm like, how come I can't get back in this game? And they were like, that's not supposed to happen.
Yeah. We asked the dev, and he turned his head, and we're like, look, it's all good.
I know. I'm the glitch meister. For 2020.
Yeah. I was like,
yeah.
I was telling everybody when that happened, it was like whenever it happened to like me in a game or me and Dan, I'm like, it's cool. I'm a software developer. I know, stuff happens, it is what it is, and I think like of the games that we saw glitches in, most of them we still really liked.
No, I know. Listen, I'm still champion. It's still one of my top games of PAX Grid Fight. Check it out. I know the devs. I can't think of their name. Platra Games.
Games.
Yeah, they're out. They're in England. Chip chip cheerio. All that sort of rubbish. Right? Say God save the Queen, Mr.
God
Potter.
save the Queen.
Mr. Potter. How are you, Mr. Potter?
Mind the gap.
Yes.
Would you like some tea and crumpets?
I like to get on the loo.
Oh boy. I need to exit this conversation.
Why can't I get the lift is not showing? You know what? I never understand. Is it still the lift when you're trying to go down the elevator?
Yes.
But
It's the
not
fall.
lifting. Then it's not. It's the fall.
The lift and the fall.
Yeah.
I mean, ideally.
The fall is not coming.
Ugh.
So.
So anyway.
Well, all right. Well, Matt didn't get a chance to play Grid Fight, but I will implore you, Matt, if you go to any other convention or this game comes out on like early access on Steam or anything like that, because they were still out on the platforms they want to release on.
Yeah. They did say they wanted the Switch, though.
They did want the Switch, and I think now that I think about it, I think we did play on Xbox controllers on a PC. Try this game out. Definitely different. I would give this game. I'm keeping a close eye on this game.
All right.
Another game I want to keep a close eye on.
You were super hype on this game. We went by their booth. They had a ton of games. I played a couple. We both got to play Hazel Sky, which
From another indie games. That's seriously, that's their name.
Yeah.
Is out. I think it's out on Steam Early Access, right?
I think that sounds about right. Yeah.
So it gave me sort of Firewatch vibes. Like if Firewatch was like about aviation. like Firewatch meets Castaway, right?
Yeah, you were like on a deserted island in this lighthouse, and you had to like repair the flying vehicle, I guess, like the little
ship, the little airplane, right? And then you actually get to fly, and you're in another sort of like another level. Right, you're on a deserted island, and I have no idea what I need to repair or need to find because I didn't get a chance to because I was like exploring every nook and cranny of that lighthouse, so I didn't get a chance to explore the island that we're on. But I saw other people on YouTube talking about this game. Like this game is slowly starting to get traction, right? So I would say this is a game definitely to watch as well. The difference with Firewatch, though, Firewatch had a big story element to it, right? Where you're talking to yourself and you're talking to someone in another watchtower, right?
Via the like little radio two-way communication.
Yeah. So it didn't feel like you were alone. Like in this game, I definitely felt secluded and alone. That's why I sort of said like Castaway vibes. Right?
Yeah.
Right. Because the music. Unlike Death Stranding, the music didn't bring me into the story, right? The composer didn't make me feel a certain way about anything. And again, it's a demo, so I don't know if you played a full game, if that's what they're going for, if they want that secluded, alone feeling that they want you to have, maybe. So that would be my only knock on the game at this point. But, because I know when you played the game, you had no idea how to get off this little lighthouse.
I missed one bit, right? It was a little like puzzle adventure style, and I missed a bit. And so you gotta go and push this block. And I'm like, I pushed the block. And he's like, you obviously didn't push the block.
You didn't push it enough. I mean, I will say the mechanics, just like any like Firewatch game or Telltale game, weren't as clear as maybe it needed to be, right? Because I was like, no, you got to keep pushing up to push the block to crash through the floor so you can find the part that you need.
And I think like maybe it's just understanding how their puzzles work, like in a general sense. Like this is how they're laying their puzzles out. This is how they expect you to complete these puzzles. So I think like if I played it a little more and then got off the island or got off the tower to the island and then went around a little more, I probably would have felt a little more comfortable. But the only thing that I noticed that there were some graphical glitches in the game, a bit minor, that I'm pretty sure they're going to end up smoothing out. But overall, it was pretty good. I was kind of hype on this game too.
So, you were really, really super hype on Rising Hell, right? Raising Hell.
Rising Hell.
Rising Hell.
So I think we all probably passed by this game. It was like one of the ones on the corner with like a big red mat, and it had. I mean, it was basically like it looked like you were in hell, and it was like a pixel game where you had to like climb up the tower. It felt visually a little bit like Valfaris and Slain, if you guys know those games.
Yeah. Definitely Valfaris. It gave me Valfaris vibes as far as the aesthetic, but not as tough because that game is tough.
Yeah. Well, this was,
and that's vertical, right? It's definitely going up.
Yeah, you're going
upwards.
bottom to top, which is kind of unique.
Vertical action platformer roguelike.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it had roguelike elements. You choose from 2 different characters who were somewhat unique. They had different like stats and abilities. They look slightly different. Heavy metal soundtrack, which is very fitting for the game, and I kind of enjoyed that part about it. They are looking to bring it to console. Right now, it's on Steam Early Access, so it's already out. But it's not final yet. It's not a complete retail release. So they're going to be doing that digitally, and they're looking to put it out on Switch, I think, later this year. So I'm kind of hyped for that. And it was definitely like I wanted to make a point to play this game because I kept trying to go by the booth over and over again. And for some reason or another, I couldn't get to play the game. Either there was a line or we had to be somewhere else. So it was like, oh, we'll get there. And finally got to play it, I think, on the last day. And yeah, it was good. It was good. It was a good game.
Both of you got to play our last game.
We did.
One of our top games of PAX, and that is Shovel Knight Puzzle Dungeon. Right now, Matt, how did you like it? Because I know you. I didn't get a chance to play it. I'm not a big puzzle fan. So how did you like it?
Yeah, I'm traditionally not like a puzzle fan either. But I loved seeing unique spins on puzzle games. And Shovel Knight, obviously, like such a great franchise. They've done such a great job with the entire like saga of Shovel Knight games. This one was very cool. Basically, blocks are falling. You don't have to like match 3 or anything, which is nice. You're kind of just like, it's a little bit of combat mixed with the puzzle genre. So it was very unique gameplay for sure. The first time I played it, I was kind of lukewarm on it. And I went back and replayed it on a separate day, and then it clicked. And I was like, okay, I get it now. I really like it. And I definitely can't wait to see more.
Yeah. I felt right away I was in because it's got that Shovel Knight aesthetic, which is kind of what I think drew a lot of people in. And this is what now, the 5th? I mean, there's Shovel Knight Showdown. There's a Dig. There's the 4 or 5 different Shovel Knight expansions that are out, and then they're like, oh, we're going to do like a puzzle game out of this. So I do know that there's like 10 different playable characters you can play as, and I think they play out like slightly differently. And I believe that there's also like a story mode too, which seemed kind of cool. So it's going to be meaty when it comes out. They're still kind of unsure. I remember them like announcing it the day before PAX, right?
Yeah, it was like total surprise.
Yeah.
Came out of nowhere.
They did like a Yacht Club Direct kind of thing.
Yeah, it was like, and that was great. I was like, wow, this is fantastic. Like, you can play it at PAX. I'm like, all right, and it seemed to have good reception. The booth was always filled with people, which is always a good sign.
The one thing that this did get me to do is go back and replay. Well, not replay, but play for the first time some of the other Shovel Knight campaigns, because I got to the very end of the original Shovel Knight, the first one that stars Shovel Knight, and then I never played any of the expansions. So on my plane ride home, I played through the entirety of Spectre of Torment, which was outstanding. I can't get enough of it. It was so good. And I started King of Cards, which I really like as well. I like the card battling element.
Yeah.
They say they can do Shovel Knight games forever and ever.
I think they could.
I would definitely play them. They're so good. They're so good.
I want them to take a break.
I love
and
how
do
much
something
attention
different.
to detail they pay, and just the homage that they pay to retro gaming, but also making it modern and feel really good. And goddamn, they're so talented, those guys.
Yeah. You do make a good point, Dan, about them doing new stuff, but
I want them to take a break.
Like Showdown is different.
Take a break and then do something different.
Well, like Showdown is different, and Dig is different, and the puzzle one is very different.
It is, but it's all in that Shovel Knight war. Like, I want to see what else they can do.
Sure.
I want to see what else maybe they have, like, in the thought process of I'm sure somebody's like, you know what, let's do this, but they can't or won't because they
it's still making a money,
still making a puzzle game in the Shovel Knight universe,
right?
And now we have a sort of a fighter game, and now we have a Dig game.
Well,
we did all the night games.
Well, they are taking a more publishing. They're kind of getting like Devolver in the way that they're like a publisher, or they're starting to be a publisher, I think.
Yeah.
With Cyber Shadow, which like me and Dan got to play last year, which was very good. And they had it again this year, but we opted not to because we played it already, so we knew what we were in for. But
I really liked it. I didn't obviously get to play it last year since I didn't go to PAX, but I did play Cyber Shadow this year, and I was very about it.
Do they have like a release window for that game at least?
They said it's this year. Yeah, I think it's like going to be a summer fall release.
Oh, nice.
Okay, all right. It'd be nice to come in summer.
Yeah, have something good to play.
I don't want it in the fall. We don't know what's happening in the fall.
No.
Well, we know Cyberpunk's happening in the fall.
Well, we know Cyber. Yes,
right. Yeah,
that's happening.
Yeah. But you felt good about Cyber Shadow, yeah?
Yeah, no, I really liked it. It definitely felt like The Messenger, which I loved The Messenger.
Yeah.
So I'm all in.
All right, so we're gonna do something different this year because I don't think there was like one de facto game that we can all agree on that was the game of the show.
Number one game. Yeah.
Number one game. There's no Katana Zero. There's no Messenger. So I thought we would all pick our individual game of PAX. Okay, and I'm gonna go first. I think Disjunction was like my surprise game and like the game of PAX for me. Like I love that Hotline Miami top-down style type games. I just hate the one-hit kills, and with the stealth element being introduced and dialogue options being introduced, so the story can change, so it gives you replayability.
Yep.
I know it's in that cyberpunk world, and I thought we were sort of cyberpunked out. With PAX, but I thought this game caught my eye, caught my attention, and I still can't stop thinking about it. That's why I just had to bring everybody. I told everybody and their mother they had to go play Disjunction.
I think you brought all of PAX over to that booth.
I did. When you're on like a first name basis with the guy at the booth, and 30XX was a close second for me.
Yeah.
Right, but I got to give it to Disjunction. I thought. My game of PAX was Disjunction. This game was great. I thought this game was awesome. So,
all right, Matt, you want to go next?
Oh, I'll go next. You already know what I'm coming with, baby. It's Ghost Runner. Ghost Runner was so good. As I said earlier, super fluid combat. The movement was great. The level design was cool. Like the puzzle platforming. The one-hit kill element was so like satisfying when you just get through everybody. I can't wait to see more. Can't wait to see all the abilities. The story, I'm just beyond excited for that game.
Nice. Well, you guys have very good picks. I'm not going to say that you don't, but you definitely picked wrong. You do not have the best picks of the show.
Oh, I get it. I get it.
Uh-oh.
You're right. No, you're right. Super Mario World wasn't at PAX.
Oh,
2020.
boy, here we go. See, I wasn't even going to bring that up. We have already asked Matt that question. We will not put
he got the answer right.
We will not put you up on the chopping block again. And I'm not going to fault you for picking Super Mario World, even though it's the second best game of all time. But of this show, 2020, best game of the show, Shovel Knight Puzzle Dungeon for me. I knew right away that I was going to sink a ton of time into this. I knew right away that this was going to be in my Switch case permanently, and I'm going to play it on the subway, and I'll just pick up and put it down. It may be an obvious pick, right? Because
you love puzzle games. I do.
Well, I mean, there's also the Shovel Knight. The Shovel Knight universe is so big, and the art style is the same across the board, so it's very familiar when you get in there, but they definitely had some unique mechanics. My friend Anthony, who I ended up playing the game with at the booth, he was like, "This is like Wario's Woods for Nintendo." It's very kind of similar mechanic where you could do like the combos and kind of move around the game board and all that. I loved it. I loved it. But yeah. So that was my one. That's definitely one to watch. Yeah. And I think that about does it. That is episode 208 in the books. Before we go though, Matt, did you have anything that you wanted to plug or promote?
Sure. Yeah, I did a write-up actually on IGN, IGN preview for Ghost Runner. So if you want to hear me gush more about that game, go check that out on IGN. We've also got gameplay footage up as well. The entire demo played through from PAX.
Mm-hmm. Nice. And where can people find you online?
Yep, super easy. It's at Matthew Adler on Twitter. So MatthewAdler on Twitter. And then same thing on Twitch, twitch.tv/Matthew Adler. I plan to get back into streaming very soon, and we'll be streaming a ton of indies, I'm sure. So come by and hang out. Nice.
So go do that. Follow him. Find out all his stuff on IGN. And if you want to interact with us, and we know you do, you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at Rated G for Gamers. And finally, we are part of the Gaming Podcast Alliance. Check out all of the fine podcasts featured on there at gamingpodcastalliance.com if you're looking for more gaming goodness. So please listen, like, rate, review, and subscribe. And as always,
keep gaming.